Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast. Here we are in the middle of January, and Alex Navarro, I know you can't believe it is only the middle of January in 2026.
How is it not the middle of July? What are you talking about?
I know it feels like Brad Shoemaker. We have been at somehow a full sprint for only 15 days here-ish. 14 days.
Been thinking that to myself for, let's say, about the last week and change. It's maybe the hardest swerve out of the holidays I've ever experienced.
It's a lot to pack in, an impressively diabolical amount to pack into 2 weeks.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
Every day, something new.
And I mean diabolical in the pure sense of having to do with the devil.
So, I mean evil.
Yeah, an evil.
It has been an evil 14 days.
On a less diabolical note, I just went to get a slightly less diabolical note. I went to go get ice for my water here as we begin to podcast. I have the freezer on the bottom of my fridge kind of thing, the bottom freezer that has an ice maker in it that drops ice into a little tray. And then there was this piece of my fridge hanging out in the ice tray that I'm holding up for Brad and Alex.
So there's a little spring and a sort of gnarled piece of plastic on the end.
If it's still working, you probably don't need that thing.
Yeah. Well,
how could that possibly go to?
I think this might be the thing that tells me when the ice tray is full. So keep an eye on that.
You don't need to know about that.
Optional feature.
None of your business.
Last week I was sitting here at my desk, just sitting at the desk as normal, and I heard a piece of metal hit the floor.
Let the metal hit the floor.
And to this day, have no idea what it was or where it was.
Oh, that was probably a little screw, right? Was it a screw sound?
Yes, I've had screws drop out of the bottom of this chair before.
Yeah.
But then I checked and all the screws were still in the chair, so I have no idea. Something's falling apart around here.
You got a screw loose.
Yeah.
Vinny, maybe you can tell me about this. This is related.
Great.
Is there ever a point when you stop treating every weird creak or pop in your house as like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck was that? Because every time since I've bought this house, I hear some sound in the background that is not just like a car driving by and causing some, whatever. Like there's just immediate panic of what just broke. And it has been 2.5 years now, and I would really like for that to stop.
This will be a big factor. Is your house haunted?
As far as I can tell, no. I have not been menaced by any ghosts since I've lived here. It doesn't mean there aren't any, but they don't seem to bother us if they are.
You might be haunted.
Yeah, it's an old house.
Like houses settle. Like we've had a lot of heavy wind recently, and those are always the real good ones when you can feel the wind pushing the flat sides of your house, and you're like, oh my god, this house is moving in small but weird ways. This house has just shifted, and here's a crackle.
Yeah, it's not that I genuinely think anything actually is wrong. It's that the deep-seated paranoia just will not subside.
I mean, look, let's get into it. What are you really afraid of? What's going to break?
My house is going to sink and fall.
Okay, the house is going to collapse and kill you? That's probably a long shot.
Collapse and kill me is actually a couple of tiers below the fear factor of there's a big crack in my foundation and I'm going to have to pay a bunch of money to get it not sinking.
Okay, so you think the foundation could crack? Yeah, I bet the foundation cracking is probably not a big worry I would have for you.
You say that, but I want to believe you. I really do.
We don't have earthquakes that much, really. We should.
Are you sure about that? Because I feel like actually since I've moved here, we've had multiple.
I know. I'm not so sure anymore.
It is 87 years old, I think.
What were they making concrete out of back then? Let's go find out.
Peasant bones. And donkeys.
Isn't there something about there's some long lost concrete recipe formula, Roman concrete or some nonsense? That, is that some ancient alien stuff?
They say they lost the recipe. I'm not sure. Sure about that one. I bet the concrete's pretty efficient these days. Yeah, look, I think the bigger worry from noises in my house now, my worry is always there's water somewhere. Inside this house where there should not be, there is a water dripping, and that is the bigger thing because that will destroy the house.
Yes. It's related because remember, I was getting water in the basement at one point. So now there is that fear of oh God, is there some sort of did it weaken some part of the structure? Is some part of my house sinking? Again, it's not that I think any of this is founded in anything truly realistic or immediately obvious. It is just this burning paranoia in the back of my brain that just has not subsided since I bought this house.
Well, I got good news and bad news, I think, for you. And again, not an expert by any means. The good news is you're probably fine. The bad news is something will go wrong.
Well, of course.
And you're going to have to pay a lot of money for it.
And I think once that actually happens to me, there will be a little bit of an alleviation of the nonstop burning paranoia because it will have happened. And then I can say, okay, well, a bad thing happened, whether it's the thing I'm paranoid about or not.
Yeah. It
will have happened. And then once it happens, any future disasters kind of feel a little bit more like, yeah, I've been there.
I don't know, man. They're just going to get more expensive. You're going to fix one. It's like anything else. You fix one thing, it breaks two other things. Yeah. The guy who was outside, I forget when we were streaming, maybe it was Road to Empress last week. There was a guy outside my house measuring stuff. Then I was like, hey, guy that's just outside his garage measuring
things. Do you work here?
And he was the town assessor. My taxes can't go up anymore. They literally just can't go. It's like we
live in an extremely high property tax area.
I already have 999 potions. They just can't go up anymore.
I have an extremely naive question.
Yeah.
Was he on your property?
Yeah.
So they don't have to notify you before they just show up and start looking at your house?
So my wife answered the door. They did knock and say, hey, we're coming on.
Okay.
Certainly to come inside, right? That is obvious. That should be
a different
obvious.
thing.
But I don't know to assess outside if they actually do need permission, written permission. Or
not that you would ever do something like this, but some people might take it very poorly for a random person to be right outside their window, looking at their house.
Absolutely. I do. I do take it. I mean, I don't take it violently, but I take it suspicious, especially these days where you're just like, I don't know what's going on anymore. Because I had seen this guy across the street, and I got out my binoculars and was like, what is this guy in a vest who just looks like you're casing a house? You're just you're just skulking around looking at every weird thing on a house.
When I first moved in here and we started doing stuff in the backyard and we were talking to our neighbors about stuff, I had a conversation with him where I was like, so you have blanket permission to go into my backyard if you need to get something or go and grab, a toy gets flung over the fence, or you need to look at something with regard to the tree that's sort of
this is to your neighbor?
To my neighbor.
Yeah.
I was like, you have permission to go in the back if you need to go get something or do something. Do I have the same permission? He was like, yeah. If it's just a quick thing, by all means. Because there is that sort of modern American thing of don't ever go on my property because you might get fucking shot. So
that's kind of what I was
having that conversation, I think, is a good thing to have with your neighbor.
I think, we had a package delivered. I thought this was a little weird. We had a package misdelivered to my other to a neighbor down the street, 2 doors down. And I could see because now they do the pictures of the, hey, your package was delivered. And I looked and I'm like, oh, that ain't my fucking house. And it was around Christmas time. And I was like, oh, let me go see what house that is because the number was blurry. And I was like, oh, it's my neighbor's house. Oh, it's on their porch right there. Let me go ring their doorbell.
Yeah. Okay.
So I went up and they have a ring doorbell thing and I rang it and nobody answered, and rang it, nobody answered. And then I just took my package from their porch and then emailed them and was like, hey, it's me. I just want to let you know I'm taking this package off the porch. I rang your doorbell. You weren't there. I just wanted to hopefully the rest of your packages are there. I just want to let you know it wasn't like somebody stealing your package. At least this one, it was mine. And they wrote back and I was like, oh yeah, I'd seen that. I was going to bring it over to you later that night, whatever. So that was a weird situation, right?
It's good to create understandings with the people in your immediate surrounding neighborhood of hey, because again, it's very fraught living in suburban America these days. And it's good to at least have some kind of understanding with the people you're surrounded by.
Yeah. And if any of my neighbors are listening to this, listen, it's not you. I don't like giving my cell phone to anybody. So when people are like, hey, let's exchange phone numbers. And I'm like,
let's get on a group chat. It's like, no,
definitely. You should text my wife and she'll message you back and have her phone number. I just don't like giving my phone number out. I don't know, something possessive about my phone number. I think it's less about you having my phone number and more, I just don't want to be on a group chat anymore with anything else.
Well, it also comes from a time before all our phones were compromised irreparably, before everyone was just spamming our phones constantly. And I think I've never quite gotten over that notion of just don't give out your phone number, because what if someone gets it? It's too late, motherfucker.
Yeah. I really do try as best as I can. Still, it seems like a silly fight to have notifications be meaningful on my phone. If something is vibrating my phone, I really do try to have it be like, I should look at my phone, right? And not have it be like, hey, there's an update for this app, or like, hey, there's a, you didn't log your calories today, whatever it is. I try to have it be like, okay, you guys are trying to get in touch with me, or somebody I know is trying to get in touch with me. It doesn't have to be like somebody posted another picture of this weird thing to a group chat all the time. All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
New iOS has a spam filter in the text or the messages app that handles texts and iMessages.
Yeah.
There's a full-on drop-down spam filter now.
It doesn't just like trash and delete. You like tries to catch them.
Yeah, they're still there. You just have to opt into switching to that view. But that before I realized what was going on, that led to a situation where I was seeing the notifications for the, hey, your tree is getting a little long. Do you mind trimming it? I got that one like 3 times in a row. It's like like I don't even know what that one was trying to accomplish. Like the recruiter one's like, sure.
Hey, I saw your profile on LinkedIn. You'd be a perfect match for our company.
Anyway, I was getting notifications for those things coming in, but then I would go to the feed and they would not be there. And I just thought I was losing my mind until I found
so it would show up on like your front door and then like on the home screen.
I would go to delete them and they wouldn't be there. And then I finally found that drop down.
Oh, yeah.
California just passed, or not just passed. It's like they're spinning it up now. An opt-in service where the state requires like something like 500 different data brokers to delete your personal information if you request it.
And will they do it? Or is this like the no spam call list?
So basically, like first of the year, the website opened where you can file the request to make.
Do you have to do it by paper?
I don't think so. I haven't done it yet. I think you do it on the website, but they're not going to start enforcing, or like the deletions don't start until August. So
what? It's okay. Look, this is so. What's the deal with whatever? But like, man, when companies want to, I'm not saying anything that everybody doesn't know, but when companies want to do something, boy, how do they do it really quick? Like, we got next day delivery. We can get you registered, signed up for a subscription. Like 1 click. Here we go. We're sending you, got your credit card information, all this. If you ever want to discontinue a thing, this is going to take like 7 months to do. And you got to fill out a paper form and send it into this thing. Surprise, but oh boy, does that really make me like, do you guys even attempt to unsubscribe from email chains using the unsubscribe button?
Sometimes, but usually I wait like years before I do it.
Yeah, same.
Do you trust them that they're legitimate? I mean, it depends on the company, I'm sure. That's okay.
What I do is scummy we're talking about.
I hit unsubscribe and then I do it, and then I have a folder in my inbox that's called I've unsubscribed, and I put that message in there to then see the next time something comes in if it's in my I've unsubscribed folder or not, before I just start blocking the email entirely and drop it into the bammer.
Yeah. Yep. Do you guys ever use the that Gmail trick where you can add extra characters to your address and it'll still come to you?
I did that for like some of my kids' account stuff so that I could have the sign up. Some places didn't like it.
Interesting.
Yeah, where you do you can do plus, right?
Yeah, you basically just add extra whatever to your address, and then that'll tell you who's selling your address when you start getting spam to it.
Yeah, so I could be like Vinny plus Nike or something. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, instead, I just stopped using Gmail pretty much. But.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Information like there's just fewer and fewer corridors for people you want to message you to have isolated these days, right? I will say, knock on wood, I don't think I get like a lot of I get it once in a while, signal spam. I don't get a ton of it.
Really?
Do you get a lot of it?
No, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I think maybe I've ever gotten one, or maybe I could be confused. I think it was one, but I could be confusing it with I had WhatsApp for a little while.
Okay, yes, I was getting a ton of WhatsApp spam for a while.
Yeah. But then like months and months and months ago, maybe a year ago now, my family moved off of that to Signal because Meta, and just not a huge. I'm not a huge fan. I'm just not a big fan. Meta. I don't have a rhyme with Meta.
Understandable.
You better Meta.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of giant companies that host a bunch of our services, Brad, you we were talking about what we got for today, and you mentioned you saw on YouTube a documentary that was put up by the sorry, I'm going to get the name wrong.
Video Game History Foundation. Yes, this is not something you play, but it is very much worth your time. I meant to mention this last week and just forgot, but in the large amount of YouTube I consumed over the break.
Uh-huh.
One of the things I watched was the Video Game History Foundation put up a documentary, like a 45-minute deep dive about the NES on, I think, Christmas Day or Christmas Eve.
Okay.
The video is fantastic. I'll try to link it in the formatting on the show notes is weird, I will say. As you know, as the person who like writes the stuff that goes out on this podcast every week, I like some podcast platforms break your formatting, you know, like this one supports bold and italics, this one does not. This one
has links and it does.
This one broke all the links, so I can't guarantee it'll work depending on your podcast platform, but I'll try to link it in the show notes. It's called let me make sure I've got the actual title right in front of me. The Untold Story of the Nintendo Entertainment System, which you can probably envision about a dozen other YouTube videos that you've seen with almost that exact title.
I mean, didn't we make one on GameSpot?
Probably. This one actually earns that title.
Okay.
This video is fantastic, and it's for two reasons, and they are related to each other, and I feel like it's something that only this outfit could do.
Okay. And
it's because this is, they're primarily an archive that is doing tremendous amounts of work to uncover historical artifacts, recover data, X, Y, and Z, what that foundation does to aggregate the history of video games in all its forms. Like, they use that research in presenting this video in a way that, like, okay, X, Y, and Z other YouTubers don't have access to this material.
Like what kind of stuff? Like what's an example?
So this video covers this video exclusively covers the time period after the Famicom gets popular in Japan, but before the NES comes out in the United States. So it's nothing about like, okay, the NES came out in America and it blew up and it was the biggest thing ever. Like, they don't even touch that stuff.
So this is not a me or Vinny or Brad or Jeff Gerstmann showing how you had to blow on a cart to get it to work.
Zero.
Okay.
This is entirely Frank Cifaldi talking to a camera and mostly cutting to B-roll of the stuff they're talking about here.
Okay.
This video is entirely about the process of bringing the Famicom to the US and what form that would take.
Interesting.
And all the iterations they went through of what the NES was going to be. It wasn't even called the NES originally. It's all based on interviews with people like Gail Tilden, people that were at NOA at the time this was happening, making these decisions, doing the concept designs. It's got a bunch of original research is the term, because it's like artifacts that only they have, because in some cases it's like, this is the only known copy of this, and here it is. So, like...
Do you know who's putting it together?
It's them. Like, looking at the credits, like, Cifaldi wrote it. I think it looks like Area 5 contributed to the video production of it.
Okay, that was my kind of bigger question. Yeah, did they contract out or?
Yeah, I probably it's very well produced. Like
but it's for free, right? It's on. Well,
yeah, it's just
free
on their channel.
It's just on the and I think that this actually serves as like an incredible piece of marketing for what they do, since they are a donation driven, nonprofit outfits. That this is like the most tangible, entertaining result of, hey, here's what your donations get you. I think, because. Like, I won't go into endless examples of what's in this video, but it's basically like there was an educational computer version of the NES before it was the NES. It was called the Education. It was going to be the Nintendo ELS, the Education and Learning System.
Uh-huh.
And then later it became the AVS, the Advanced Video System, which had not just the floppy drive from Japan, but also like an interface for a musical keyboard as well as a typing keyboard.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was going to be for like music creation and stuff. They have concept mock-ups for all of this stuff. They experimented with wireless controllers for the NES.
Sure, I believe it.
They were like infrared, I guess.
I bet it didn't work super well.
Like, where this video, like, there are just some amazing flexes in this video, because, again, it's where this thing really shines is when they are showing off stuff that only they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because they get into, like, originally, Atari met with Nintendo to sell the Nintendo hardware under the Atari name in America at first. And that deal fell apart, but they had already contracted to put out several of Atari's biggest arcade games on the NES. And they did that work, or those games got developed, but only 3 out of the 4 came to market. Galaga was the one that did not, and the VGHF recovered the ROMs of that unreleased Galaga from 1983.
Oh, wow.
From Atari.
Oh, wow.
Dumped the ROMs, which contained like the program data, like the programming, the code that runs the game, but not the assets.
feel like
So
that's cool.
Hang on, there's more.
Oh,
Yeah, I think I maybe know where this is going.
They went and rebuilt this game, pulling assets from the arcade version of Galaga and also from a different game that I can't remember. I'd have to look. That like they effectively extracted graphics from other games, married them to the Galaga program code, and put out a ROM. Put out a functional ROM that I put on my Mister and played of the unreleased NES Galaga that just never would have seen the light of day if they hadn't both recovered the data from those ROMs and then rebuilt it from scratch with other graphics.
Is that with Atari's blessing?
And define blessing.
Who is Atari these
Well, that's
days?
what I was going to say is I
know.
feel like Atari has maybe the current Atari administration has the maybe the right attitude towards some of this stuff, which is look, we have a history here. That is our company. It is mostly a nostalgia company, though they do some new stuff, but we're not overly precious about it, right? Like we celebrate it, but I could see them wanting to support that.
I don't think current Atari is going to try and make money off, a bootsy version of Galaga that they never put on that platform. Like at most, that's a curiosity that maybe finds its way into something like an Atari 50, but it is not a thing they were going to release, even as part of necessarily like a Galaga collection or anything like that.
Yeah, they don't say. I wouldn't be shocked if they spoke to Atari before they published this just to make sure everything was cool. I don't know, but
that's cool. So that's on their YouTube channel. Do you know how long it is roughly?
It's about 45 minutes. There's one other bit where they're talking about the AVS, which is the big this does everything. It plays games. It's got a floppy drive. You can program in BASIC on it. You can hook a piano keyboard up to it to make music on it. Like it was going to be a whole computer thing. And they're talking about all the features in this, and then they cut to, they're like, this thing was brought to CES, 1984 or whatever year it was. We actually have the only surviving copy of the press kit.
Oh, wow.
That's one of those flexes is they're describing this thing, and then they just cut to high-res footage of, we have the only known surviving copy of the press kit from CES 84 or whatever it was, and they flip through it, and you can see the big nice-looking product shots of all those NES AVS peripherals that never came to market. But it's one of those things where again, like they've got ROMs, they've got brochures and press releases and marketing materials, things that have been recovered from companies, from private collections that they can leverage in telling history like this in a way that you just can't do that if you don't have those primary materials. Like it was just a really well-produced, fascinating package.
And I think the more they I mean, you've used this word, and I agree with it. The more they flex a little bit about their collection, the more it kind of legitimizes them as the repository for this stuff, and the more it answers the question, at least in my head, which is like, what's the first place I should check to see if they need anything, right? Like, what's the place? Like, I've got this thing, I should go see. Like, it's taking up space, I should see. Or for people who may have been in and around the industry and collected knick-knack paraphernalia stuff that probably they think is meaningless, they might not. The Video Game History Foundation might be like, no way, man, like we'll take it and we'll give it a good home. And they've kind of become like the Smithsonian of like video games, non-governmental, but like it just in terms of, in my mind, legitimacy as a curator of video game history.
Totally. There are some other institutions. There's like the Strong in New York, and I think
which is very cool.
Yeah. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, very cool. I haven't been there in a while. It's been about 10 years, but I did enjoy it.
I think there might be another operation in Texas that I don't know the name of. Like, there are other people out there doing some of this stuff, but the VGHF being in the Bay Area where a lot of the stuff was centered or close to it, and having a lot of contacts, like, yeah, you're right. A lot of that stuff is flowing to them, and they're doing a really good job of archiving it and showing it off.
I think just for me, again, this is maybe more of a personal than academic connection, is I just know how passionate and quote unquote real they are about that stuff. Like, it's legit. It's not. They're not messing around.
Yes. Yeah. And in fact, they put up the entire, I don't know if they put it up alongside this. They have like also an entire like hour-long panel discussion with Gail Tilden, and I forget the two other guys' names, who were like a concept designer and I think a marketing guy. But like there is I haven't watched that yet, but there is a deeper dive conversation with those NOA folks talking about even more of this stuff.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Again, you can go check it out on their YouTube channel.
Yes, Video Game History Foundation. Like I said, I'll try to link it.
And they take donations.
Yes.
So if if you are in the means to support. We do have some video games to talk about here. I'm gonna kick off a quick one before we move on into our break here, because it's a fairly short thing to talk about. But Will Smith and I played a game called Mosa, Lina, which is billed, I think it is bills itself as a survival game with basically no rules. Now, I don't think that's a great description. It is much more of a puzzle-ish game with no rules, where essentially it has a Baba is you style aesthetic to it. We played cooperatively. You are kind of dropped into a map and then randomly given some power-ups. Now in the co-op mode, we would share a power-up in terms of what we got, and then each of us would kind of get a picked from a set of like 6 for the levels we had power-ups. Power-ups include like a fly gun, which would just shoot flies at a thing to make them take off, a tentacle gun, which would shoot tentacles at a thing, and you're essentially trying to solve the little puzzle with the stuff you have. You can die instantly or not, but it is not a curated experience. It is more of a, we're going to drop you in this level with these things, try and figure out a way to make it work. Try to figure out a solution, make it work. You got to each touch these fruits or touch a fruit and get to the exit. It was a weird experience. I think it was a good experience, and I actually enjoyed it, but it was a weird one.
The Steam page describes it as a hostile interpretation of the immersive sim.
Okay, yeah.
Sounds
immersive
awesome.
sim, not a survival game. That's my fault. Yeah.
But I mean, you're basically talking about a set of rules that can kind of just be applied to anything, right?
Yeah, and I think immersive sim in my mind means a little something different than maybe what they're talking about. This was much more just, it felt like a puzzle game. A puzzle game, because there's no persistence. The sim part is, you don't have a hunger meter or anything like that. But it's, for as basic and bare bones as it is, it's weird because you just die and reload, and you might have a completely different set of tools to tackle the level very quickly. And you're just like, oh, okay, I'm like, oh, you die. Okay, let's go try it again. Okay, now I've got this. But by about the third set of levels, which is about where Will and I got towards the end, we kind of start getting into a flow of, so because the items change per set of levels. I think there might be like 9 sets in, let's say, a quote unquote a world, and then you get new weapons and stuff like that. But we started to get a feel for how they worked and what we're doing here, and it was kind of cool to use its absurdity against it. So Mosa, Lina, it's a pretty inexpensive game. I think $8. Came out a couple of years ago, but I think it just came to the Switch last year, I believe. We played it on the PC. There was co-op there on the PC. I'm not sure if it's co-op everywhere, but it was fun. It was enjoyable. Yeah, Mosa, Lina.
I feel like the trailer on the Steam page really gives a good sense of kind of what they're going for. It's, you see like there's explosive force and gravity and bounciness, and like it looks like you can like shoot arrows into things to make platform. It's just like a bunch of systems that you can use in creative ways to solve problems.
But weird things too, like there was a gun that shot a pair of legs that you can jump on, and then you walk on the legs so you're a little higher, but you get like a double jump.
I think I just saw a gun that shoots a frog.
A gun that shoots a frog, yes. It is interesting and worth checking. At least check out the stream so you can get a sense of how that went. All right, we've got some other things to talk about here. We're going to talk about Quarantine Zone, a check-in with Absolum. I played some more Séance of Blake Manor. It sounds like some Tetris 99 is on the table to chat about. We're going to get to those things. Yes?
Tetris, yeah, sure. Tetris. We'll get to it.
It's on the table.
It's on the table. We'll talk about it right after this break. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and let's kick it off with Quarantine Zone, a game published by Devolver Digital. I forget who is developing it, but it was in the Devolver catalog.
Yes.
And I think that stood out to me in the Planorama. This kind of on paper has a bit of a Papers, Please setup, maybe.
Yeah.
You're kind of manning a gate. There's a zombie outbreak, and you are trying to decide whether people need to go into the shelter, to go into quarantine, or to be, I think in their terms, their phrase, liquidated,
yes,
which is exterminated.
because so the idea is that you are trying to differentiate between someone who has definitely got the zombie virus in them and someone who might otherwise just be like regular sick because they've been wandering around a post-apocalyptic, busted out city. So there's like symptoms that it will present you with that are not related necessarily to zombie outbreak. Like you can have kind of like jaundiced eyes or, bruising on your body and things like that are unrelated to the zombie outbreak, but you don't know. It's a potential, but you don't know. So there's like multiple tiers of what grade of symptom do they have. If it's green, it might just mean they're sick.
Yeah.
If it's yellow, they could either be sick or they could be zombie infected. If it's red, they're definitely zombie infected, and they will inevitably turn. Yes.
Yeah. So as you're kind of going through, there's some questionable ones where like, look, you're scratched up and your eyes are pretty red. They're not red,
but it could be conjunctivitis. We don't know.
So we're going to put you in the quarantine for a little bit, and then you can check on them throughout the day or overnight and see if they have turned or if they have gotten better. Initially, I will say, chain link fence, people in suits doing checkpoint stuff was maybe not the thing I needed right now, but it's a little absurd. It didn't. I was able to push through. It gets kind of absurd enough where the zombie stuff. It doesn't go all the way absurd. It just goes zombie, right? Like the zombie stuff.
It is a zombie outbreak.
I don't think it's the game's fault, but I absolutely had that reaction immediately of like scrutinizing people in this oppressive setting as if they are cattle and deciding if they are pure enough or not.
Yeah, checkpoint style, arm checkpoint style.
Maybe a little too raw right now, honestly, for me. But
there is a base mechanic in it where you're trying to upkeep your base to make sure that there's food, water, energy.
Food, medical supplies, energy, and then you are also building out some of the facilities that you have. I think that's probably the least interesting part of the game for me. Not because I don't like base building, but it just feels like maybe there's more as I go along, but I've put a few hours into this and I feel like it just isn't, like I'm not really that excited to get any of these upgrades,
And then I didn't put nearly as much time as you did, so I only put like an hour or so and maybe less than that. And I had they're breaching the gate. The zombies are coming for the gate, which you do that. I forget what it is, but that like almost infrared, like
night vision kind of like you're seeing the sort of like highlighted targets coming at you.
Gun where you're shooting down and you're just like you see the just running little. I don't remember exactly what it's called.
I like to refer to that as the sort of Gulf War cinematography.
Yep, that's the one. And it's the zombies just running towards the gate, and you just have to stop the incursion there. And then you get upgrades for how you're scanning people. I think as far as
new tools as you go along. Yeah,
like you could start taking their temperature, scan their bodies, and look for more things. You start with a flashlight, and it kind of progresses from there.
And then they give you like a hammer, which you can use to test reflexes. They give you the X-ray scanner that lets you look for like bites and other marks underneath clothing. They do not show nudity; it is all underwear. But I'm of two minds of this. I think the core gameplay seems pretty decent. Like other than maybe not doing a great job of surfacing granular detail about why you did or did not do a good job on an individual scan. Like they kind of judge you at the end of the day, and then they're like, hey, if you liquidate someone who isn't infected or you send an infected into the gen pop, you get docked some money. But it doesn't necessarily show you exactly what it is you missed. They don't come back and be like, oh, you missed that guy had necrosis, you didn't see it, or anything like that.
I sent someone to the quarantine, a couple of people to the quarantine, and one of them turned into a zombie and killed the other person in the quarantine.
Oh, that will happen in the quarantine for sure. Yeah. If you leave them in there too long and you feel like they're progressing along and you don't take them out, they will eat whoever is in there once they turn.
Oops. Sorry.
So it's not great at telling you what you did wrong, but it's fine because the thing is, like, even when you get things wrong, it's not like I think outright, unless you outright fail, generally you can just move on to the next day. It doesn't seem like there is a benchmark of, oh, you did enough bad jobs, now we're just going to shoot you in the head. But the other thing is that, like, it's not that I need this game to be funny or weird necessarily, but in the space of a Papers, Please, or, more recently, No, I'm Not a Human, those games are absurd and very surreal and strange in their delivery of these kind of like, like these sort of suss a person out, decide if they're good or not kind of games. this is playing it fairly straight. Outside of a couple of references to other things, like Vinny, you mentioned there's a one survivor you pick up that basically just looks like the shopkeeper from Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah.
There's another one that is a guy with a sack on his head that is literally just a walking skeleton. Like, there's some of that stuff kind of bubbling under the surface, and it seems like it's gesturing toward possibly there being maybe like a meta-narrative going on. But none of that stuff has really surfaced in a major way, and it all feels like maybe just a little too straightforward for what it is.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a little, I think, again, in the very early beginnings of it, maybe this changes. Even the setup is a little, this is a military checkpoint. It's a little dopey with your, like, Ruha commander being like, get up, soldier, and go check the checkpoint. And
then there's your fucking private, golly, Sarge guy who like gives you all your tools.
pile.
Yeah.
And there's like the stammering scientist guy that gives you all your tools.
Yeah.
Like, it's
And
all,
so, like,
cliched.
I feel like some of the trappings could have, most of the time when people are going way in that direction, they either do the ridiculous megacorp thing of like, humans are just the product and you're here to stamp them through. This is somewhere in the middle, which isn't realistic, but also isn't quite absurd enough to be memorable for the presentation.
Not to like pigeonhole what Devolver is kind of allowed to put out or whatever, but I was like shocked to find out this was a Devolver game, because I typically think of those as like pretty stylized in one way or another, like your Hotline Miamis and so forth, and this one just being very gritty realism felt very not their house style. Again, they can publish whatever they want, of course, but
and they do publish a wide variety of games and genres, but yeah, so you're right. There's just like a flavor missing from this that I'm not really sure. And it's not necessarily it's not even necessarily has to be the Devolver thing. It just feels like it needs like a layer of strangeness on top of what you're doing, because otherwise it just feels like you're just getting these character models that all sort of look like, let's just call it, they look like people assets you would get on a disc when you were like, give me a bunch of human models, and then they are applying like, injury texture packs to them, and then you just stare at them long enough to decide if they go into liquidation or not.
I will say I was kind of darkly amused by they do the thing where they obviously don't tell the people that are filing through where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
When you send somebody to liquidation, it's not like they say, hey, head down to liquidation on your left.
No.
Like they're like, okay, you go left, you go right. But then every time you send somebody to liquidation, 10 seconds later, you hear a machine gun.
Yes.
Oh, it's like,
I don't even think I picked up on that.
I don't think you're hiding this too well from the people you're trying to keep orderly here.
Yeah.
But the thing I was going to say, though, is I wonder if it ever gets beyond the real checklist nature of the filtering or the screening, because it is just a bunch of injuries that you're matching to a chart effectively. Like, I wonder if they ever subvert those mechanics and make it trickier in some way.
I think the way they're trying to make it tricky is that you just really have to be thorough with everyone. And like, if you're not thoughtful about like just going through the entire step list, like you can definitely miss stuff. And it seems like I've had characters where it's like they come in and they have some what seem like very obvious zombie signs, but then it's not enough of them to put them into the actual quarantine. But then like anytime you see someone with blood red eyes, like I've never gotten punished for putting someone with blood red eyes into the liquidation zone. It seems like there are certain markers that are just like, nope, they're zombies.
Yeah.
So I wonder, they have to figure out at some point if they do subvert that might make it a little more interesting. Right now, like I said, it's just felt very by the numbers straightforward. I know exactly what the steps are here.
I'll add the other maybe flavor, like you said, Alex, that could be missing from this, that is in something like a Papers, Please or the
No, I'm Not a Human.
No, I'm Not a Human, is that the characters, when they come through the gates, they maybe will say one line or something, or at least in limited time I've played in the beginning, say like one line, like, hey, my kids just came through, I just want to get through. And that's been repeated a couple of times.
Yeah.
Where in those other games, they have usually a back and forth that makes it a little more interesting with the person you're trying to decide whether they should pass or not pass. That gives you pause, right? To make it be like, hey, I'm here, I just need to place a checkout, like, please help me. It doesn't really have that contextualizing of the person. You're really just looking at the symptoms.
Like, I'm not sure they're procedurally generating any of these people. It's possible that they have a very specific set of symptoms that will appear on each different day, and that's just kind of the way it works. I don't know. But it feels at times like it is just procedurally generated people. Like, Papers, Please, all those people were weird as shit. You know, in No, I'm Not a Human, there's nothing procedural there. Everything is kind of scripted in a way. You're going to get these people. These are the personalities you're going to run into. There just isn't a lot of that here.
Yeah. Yeah. Or really much at all. Yeah. And surfacing and nobody's pleading, nobody makes their case. Beyond,
I mean, they
maybe.
do, but they don't do it in a way that's like, oh, you have any agency over it. It's just every once in a while you hear a lady walk up and she's like, please, I have children in there.
Right.
And it's like, you just move on because you have no ability to respond to them.
Right. But then I would hear like 7 people later that same line, like, please, I have children in there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Have you gotten to the part where you start inspecting bags?
No, I didn't get that far in.
Okay.
Like I said, I only played like 45 minutes to an hour.
Another thing you have to start picking up at one point is contraband, which is any weapons, and also any sort of like biohazard material is an instant like fucking throw that shit in the fire. But also that's another weird one because I assume at some point they're going to have to do something to change that up because right now it is literally anything that looks like a weapon, grab it. Anything that isn't, just leave it. Like that's the whole thing right now.
Well, that is Quarantine Zone: The Last Check. It's $20. It is out now on the PC.
I'll keep playing it. I just want to see if it has another turn in it or not.
And might also depend on your patience and tolerance for chain link fence checkpoints at this stage of the game.
I'm not sure they could be any lower than they are right now, but I'm still going to give this game a shot.
The game that I think I'm most into in 2026, that is a 2025 game, is Absolum. And Alex, it sounds like you jumped into some Absolum. Brad and I played some more Absolum last week.
After we played about an hour of Anthem, and we were like, you know what, we're good. Why don't you just boot up some Absolum?
Turns out there's only so much Anthem you can stream before you're like, yep, even though this is shutting down in 3 days, I think we're good.
Mm-hmm.
And that game continues to rip. Alex, what'd you think?
So I watching you guys play was finally the thing that kind of ticked me over. And so I spent some time. I've been playing alone because nobody likes me. And so playing it alone, I think it might be missing a little bit of something. I do think the fighting feels real good. Like it's very thunky. Like it seems like the stuff you can kind of build your characters out with, the upgrades you get on the sort of roguelite path. Like it feels like there's a good variety between the character classes. Like I did unlock the lady that you had unlocked, the sort of like cinder looking one or whatever.
Yeah.
Cider, yeah.
Yeah.
Good variance between the characters. Like I think the enemy types are all pretty good. Like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay feels really solid. I'm not sure I'm all the way bought in on the roguelite aspect of it, like the sort of go back, do your runs type thing. Not necessarily because I think it's bad, but I think it's just not necessarily when I play a beat 'em up, I kind of just want to play a campaign. Like I kind of want to just play through the hours of the go through, beat up all the people, and then beat up Mr. X or whoever the version of that is in that game. And then you win. I think this being a longer run and a longer stretch of beating him up maybe is just not quite hitting for me, at least as a solo player. I feel like I would be having more fun if I was playing with someone else.
Yeah, I think we probably said something similar last week, that there's that aspect of just like, we're just going to chat about whatever in between the big boss fights while we mash.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more... Like on the subject of how many campaigns are in there, the more I play of it, there's like 2 land masses on the map. There's like that first sort of continent, and it looks like one more, and then you go fight the boss. And I was like, first few runs through the game, I was like, that doesn't seem that long, like just 2 land masses, and we've already gotten to the end of the first one. And the more I play of it, the more I realize how many routes there are through that first continent.
Yeah.
Like they keep unlocking more. I think there's at least 4 different paths that I can think of now that I've seen.
Do you think there are shortcuts to get to the other continents once you've...
Oh, I would hope so.
I would hope so.
Please tell me you're not going to have to fight that Skeleton King every time you go through there, because I don't think I can do that. The guy sucks. But the point is there's like a ton of variety in even that first area. Like there's just way more map and way more quests and bosses and stuff than you think at first. So yeah, like it's definitely going to be kind of a different run every time.
And I think when you have multiple people, you're just seeing a lot more quickly. Like a lot more powers, a lot more combinations of powers, different builds. And you also get the ability to res, which I think makes probably a little bit of difference.
God, I didn't even think about that. That was kind of like when I was like way into Remnant 2.
Yeah.
a couple years ago. And the same thing there of playing by yourself is just kind of a death sentence because you can't make a mistake.
You know, some games have just a different type of game solo, right? And that's not worse or better.
Yeah.
Like some games are like Ark is a good example. I don't know how much I actually like the multiplayer aspect of it versus a solo run, especially when you're just doing shopping list stuff, because you don't have to fight over resources. You're like, hey, Brad, you and I both need duct tape, right? And it's like, I could just go in and just do a run and try and get duct tape and get out versus like, hey, all right, you take this one, I'll take this one. Hey, where are you? Hey, should I wait for you? Hey, I'm going to get out of here. Oh, you're just looting a thing? Like, you know, it gets very different, though your survivability is up. There's something about it where, you know, just running in solo because it's just sometimes it just feels like a shopping list game. I'm not sure where I am on Ark. I pop into it with my brothers to play it, and I'm just not sure. Aside from the grind of getting stuff, where the initial like, oh wow, that's cool, and now it's kind of, you know, hey, what do you got to get? It's just is weird. Anyway, I don't want to switch it to Ark. We're talking about Absolum. My point being, sometimes it's a different experience and not a lesser experience. But I have not tried Absolum solo yet, so it's TBD.
It's fine. And again, I think the actual gameplay is good, like, and so it's enough to keep me interested. But it feels like a game that was very much designed with, you need to be playing this with a friend. Like, it's not necessarily in terms of difficulty, but just in terms of like the excitement factor and sort of like the general vibe of playing. It feels like something you should be sharing with someone.
Yeah, I mean, I will say people on our Discord who played that entire game start to finish by themselves and seem to love it, so that definitely does work for some people.
Yeah. No, it totally works. It's just not, I think, just not the ideal way.
I like it. I like it so far. That's Absolum.
Yeah, it's rad.
That continues to be out.
You got me on that one.
I played more, spent most of my time trying to catch up on Séance of Blake Manor. Not sure how far along I am on that. That's the game that is a little Blueprints-ish. It's a mystery inside a house or a manor. A little like Eldritch God-esque. Takes place in Ireland. It's cool. You know, it still has that time mechanic where every time you basically investigate a thing, time ticks forward a little bit, and then once you hit the hour, people all change spaces and go do different things. So you kind of do have to keep track of a little bit of the time or how you're spending that time currency around. I'm enjoying collecting all of the evidence. I do feel a little adrift at sea. I feel like I'm just scooping up evidence. I've got some objectives, which are basically just get all the keys to the goddamn manor so I can go search everybody's room. And as I search the rooms, I gather some evidence. Sometimes there's a disconnect from a thing I find to the game's reaction to it, where I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing, how can I not ask somebody about this thing? Because obviously the game has its idea of what you should be talking about and not what I should be talking about. So sometimes I feel like I've discovered something that should be of more import than the game thinks it is. But I'm enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying it because I like the vibes of the game. So
sure,
we'll keep at it and finish it up. I have no idea how long that game is, and I have no idea. 10 minutes?
Yep. Doesn't it start at 11:50?
Yeah.
Wait, did I misremember that?
I don't remember. Like, you have 10 minutes to get to 11 o'clock.
Yeah, or is it? Yeah.
Then the hour shifts over.
Yep. 10 minutes. Yeah.
I'm on, like, I forget what day I'm even on in the game, and there's a seance coming up. We'll see how it goes in the end. But I am enjoying it. It's not rocking my world, but I am just enjoying picking up and sitting and playing it. A very chill game. Brad, we promised the folks some Tetris 99 here.
Yeah, it's not really about Tetris 99, but they had another Maximus Cup this weekend.
And what does that mean?
It's their usually 72. It's a 48 or 72 hour event. I forget how long it is. They do every month or two, I would say, which is just earn points to unlock a new theme.
Oh, sure.
Basically, just
what was the theme?
It was their second or third Animal Crossing theme. I think it's probably the second one. Is for that patch and update and content.
Yep, which dropped a day early apparently.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, that it's still Tetris 99, but I bring it up because it's the first Maximus I have done now on the Switch 2.
Oh.
And I always play those handheld for whatever reason. Actually, and whatever reason is that the Pro Controller D-pad sucks, as well established.
Yes.
Okay.
Tetris not a good game for D-pads that occasionally make you hit up when you don't mean to.
Correct.
I bring this up to say I don't know that I'm going to mod the Joy-Con on the Switch 2 as I obsessively did on the Switch 1.
So you're happy with it, or you just don't care?
More the latter.
Okay. Okay.
I would
fair.
still much rather have a real D-pad on that thing,
Uh-huh.
to be clear. But I had no problems getting through the Maximus using the button D-pad. I've never loved the fake, the button D-pad on the handheld Switch on the Joy-Con, and I modded multiple Joy-Cons with custom shells on the first Switch to add real D-pads, and that was always basically, I'd say on net, an excellent thing to do. Having that D-pad is always great, although there are some downsides to that. I just don't know. Now that those things are $90, I don't know that I am eager to pull those things apart.
Yeah. You can always use your old one if you want, right?
But it wouldn't fit on the side.
Oh, right, because you're doing handheld.
Yeah,
right.
I'm just holding it handheld. Also, that bigger screen is very nice for that sort of thing, but like the usual suspects have now finally started shipping replacement shells for the new Joy-Cons, the Switch 2 ones. And I was looking at them and going, should I? Do I really want to open up a $90 controller and do this? I'm not sure. Maybe. A question I thought about posing on this podcast is, do people want to see us stream that? Should I take my fancy camera on the...
Did you do the last mod? You did record it, didn't you?
I did a recorded, not a live streamed, but the first one I did, a Giant Bomb, I recorded and then like Jan edited together and posted. If there is demand for doing that live on a stream, I would consider it maybe worth the investment. But otherwise, I'm not sure. Because the thing with those shells is the D-pad feels great, but they never quite feel right in the just fit and finish, you know? Like they always like
3D printed?
They're better than that, but they always like bulge in weird places. They don't quite sit flush with the system. Like you can just tell when you hold it that it's not a legitimate Nintendo shell. Like it just feels a little off, and I'm not sure that the D-pad is worth that.
I'm gonna qualify my 3D. Look, old 3D print, like 10 years ago 3D printed is what I'm talking about. You know, like there are plenty of very nice 3D printed stuff.
Yes. You will hear from some people otherwise.
Yeah. Like I'm talking about that old style, like striations on the prints. You know.
Yeah. No, these are definitely injection molded, and even the most recent Switch 1 shells I got even have that same kind of weird soft touch sort of finish like the Switch 1 Joy-Cons had. Like they even matched that pretty well, but they still didn't fit quite right. Like it still just felt a little off when you held it.
Go crack open one of those new colors, one of those new $100 color ones.
Yeah, I'll just mention that now instead of waiting for the news. Nintendo announced that they're putting out the first new color Joy-Cons. But sure enough, it's just the little like well under the stick.
It's a strip. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you pull it off, it's just the little thing on the side.
It's like an accent.
Right.
It's like accent
like,
colors.
They're like barely different. I mean, it's noticeable if you know what to look for, but not much.
But when they're on the thing, then you probably only see the well of the analog stick.
The Joy-Con is the only thing that shows. So that's the other reason to get these aftermarket shells besides the D-pad is they make actual different colors. So if you really want actual different color Joy-Cons, like many people clearly do, that's kind of your option right now. But
so those are priced, at least according to the story, was at $100. But a regular set of Joy-Cons is $90. Is that right?
I thought that was right.
Okay. I mean, who can tell? Prices are all over the place.
Oh wait, did that? Oh, I forgot they raised prices. I think didn't they launch at 90?
Oh, maybe they're
sounds
100
right.
now.
Yeah, but even the launch blue and orange ones are also $100 now.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up the story now. I'm sorry, we were going to do this in the news. Right. Okay. The default ones are 100. No pricing for these. Got it.
I think the launch ones went up in price $10, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, what hasn't? You know?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm looking at the store page. The new ones are also up for pre-order at 100.
Okay, with the different colors.
Yeah. It's also weird. Not that it really matters, but the inside part of that like hinge on the Switch is blue and orange. So not that you're ever going to see it, but your new Joy-Cons won't match the color of the socket that they go in.
They never come off.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but some weird choices around that thing.
Also,
it's Nintendo.
It was nice to have different shells on them for ones that I knew were my like aftermarket ones, you know, like or like, hey, this belongs to you. I guess you could do that with the highlight on them, but well, I'm sure we'll get different colored, molded shells eventually for this thing.
Nintendo just sell a Joy-Con with a D-pad in it. Come on.
We don't have this in the news, but since we're talking about Nintendo, there was a blip I saw come across my RSS about Nintendo stock having taken a dip. I mean, it had gone up a sharp rise, an unexpected rise, but then kind of just as unexpectedly kind of went back down. I think it was almost 30% or something like that. But it was, this reporting on it was mostly like, hey, it went up like 30% in like a weird way and then kind of came back down. So
yeah, I don't know if this was related, but I also saw that sales of the Switch 2 hardware over the holiday were not what was expected, or they were less than the Switch 1's first holiday.
I thought I saw that like all the consoles had a pretty bad holiday.
Yeah, that is entirely possible. Would not be surprising. Given
all right.
Things.
That was Tetris 99.
and stuff.
Still there.
And the D-pad.
Yeah, again, if somebody really wants to watch that mod, let us know. Maybe we'll do a stream of it.
Yeah, I'm sure people do.
I've got that camera on a friction arm, so it would not be that hard to point it down.
Here's the I'm gonna add to this. Here is the trouble making a survey. If you do not want to see that done, also write in, because like you're asking for the people who want to write in, so the people who don't want to see it won't write in. So we gotta make sure we actually say, if you don't want to see it, you also can write in. Otherwise, you'll just receive, I guess if you receive one person who's like, I'd like to see it, then that's a pretty good sign. Who's going to write in and be like, I really don't want to see this?
You might be surprised.
I guess I would be surprised. I guess nothing should surprise me anymore. Finally here, I did continue dabbling in Silent Hill F a little bit on my New Game Plus. There is some stuff that is different, which is interesting. I don't know exactly what I can and cannot skip, which is a little maddening in terms of cutscene stuff, because there are different things happening here in the cutscene. I busted it down to like easy mode in everything, because I just want to see what happens in the story. But yeah, you know, you can kind of cruise through that game when the combat's on easy and you're I'm doing a no pills run, which
really,
I wish.
Is that for a purpose? Does that?
It was one of the things you have to do for a certain ending. Yeah.
Oh my God, I did not know that game got that weird and out there with getting different endings.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to get into like what may or may not, but there are like basically 4. There's definitely one super duper weird one.
Yes.
Which is I think a joke one.
That's a Silent Hill tradition of having one extremely weird ending.
And then the other 3, there's like hidden things here. I might just use a guide and go do it so I don't miss stuff. Because I don't want to play this more than I have to. No offense to Silent Hill F, but
we've already beaten it once. You've played a fair amount of this game at this point.
I've beaten it once, and it seems like there are places where you can get locked out of being able to complete the ending. You know, if you miss a thing. You know, look, if I were to take a pill accidentally, you know, I would ruin that no pill run.
Sure.
So I'm trying to get this other item and do other shrine stuff, but it's interesting. You know, I'm reading a lot more this time about all the notes and the nonsense. So I will continue doing that and see how long that takes me. Right now we're in January with not a lot of my calendar highly anticipated releases. That's a little bit more of February stuff starts to roll in that I'm really looking forward to spending some time with. So it gives me a little chance to catch up on some of the leftovers from 2025.
Yeah, I am going to get back to that game. I intended to do so this week, and then every time I thought about firing it up, I couldn't seem to stop staring at the news instead. But we'll definitely...
The real horror.
I realized that I remember Hinako and Sakuko, but I can't remember the third friend's name, and I realized, okay, I've got to get back in there. If I'm forgetting a character's name, then I'm getting distance from it, and that's not good. I need to finish that game.
You mean your buddy? Your partner?
No, the other female friend.
Because
you do that sequence where they're both like very much at odds with you.
Silent Hill F. Game's all right.
I would say it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. All right, we're going to take a break here. We're going to come back. We've got some news to check out here. A couple of things kicking off in 2026 that are not necessarily completely dire, but some video game news that we can talk about. We're going to talk about it, and we'll be right back. So stick around. All right, we are back, and we've got some news here, some not so great news, and some fun news, or interesting news at least, depending on where you're at. Let's start with the interesting news, which seems like is mostly coming out of a Windows Central.
Yeah, Windows Central does a lot of reporting on Xbox-related stuff.
I don't know if you read through some of that Windows Central report, but it is fairly scathing in terms of its assessment of 2025 Microsoft.
No, I did not read the broader piece. I zeroed in on the one piece of information that makes me extremely happy.
Let me just read this line from what is about the third paragraph from the Windows Central report. After talking about some of its, like we have talked about, not a bad year if you're the consumer of video games, right? It goes, that's not what Xbox's 2025 will be remembered for, sadly. Microsoft has been working overtime to sync its image, injecting AI slop into every product it has, laying off thousands while bragging about how much of its code is written by AI, and hiking prices of products to uncomfortable levels, which is just a withering take on 2025 Xbox.
Inaccurate. Laser accurate.
Don't forget the Game Pass price hike.
That was the next sentence. I stopped.
And the repeated increases in the Xbox hardware costs, although everybody has got part and price problems at this point.
But also tucked into this Windows Central 2020 Xbox in 2026 kind of right up here. Brad, what do we have?
Yeah, and Kotaku has independently verified this, so it seems pretty firm.
Yeah, because it's not a big mention in that Windows Central report.
No, Kotaku says they have confirmed with their own sources it is the case that Machine Games is working on a new Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein 3.
Like a proper Wolfenstein 3 sequel to the new Colossus. I'm just gonna be real with you. I don't know if there's a game that I could use more right now.
Yeah.
Than this.
You're not wrong. I just hope
it's not too late.
No, I don't know. I don't have a doubt Machine Games will just go as hard as they've always gone.
Yeah.
But I feel like what we all want is them to go harder than ever, you know? And I hope that nobody inside or anywhere is going to be like, maybe it's not Nazis this time. Maybe it's aliens. Maybe what if they were just BJ's fighting aliens,
I have to believe, just based on the couple of people I've talked to from Machine Games over the years, that if something like that came, they would sooner leave the company than make a Wolfenstein that was not about Nazis.
I can't speak for them, but yes, I think you're right. I hope you're right.
That would be my only concern. Otherwise, I have full faith they would go as hard as they possibly could.
The audacity of that second game in particular is such that it's just impossible to imagine any other outcome than that. Yep. I mean, we made a whole Game of the Year category around it. It was that big.
I mean, Machine Games has kind of made their hay now punching Nazis and fascists with Wolfenstein and Indiana Jones.
At the most mild level.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Whipping, machine gunning,
rocket launchering.
Yeah.
Really carved out a lane now that you mention it.
No date or any news on here.
No. Really, the story is basically just, hey, they're making it. I have to assume. I didn't think this would ever happen, honestly. Like, I kind of assumed Youngblood was sort of like, all right, this is all, like, I don't know how well New Colossus sold, but the fact that they didn't immediately rush A3 into production is probably an indicator. And I kind of assumed, like, all right, Youngblood, here's your little multiplayer loot-based thing. Like, give it a shot, see how it goes. Otherwise, you're moving on. And then Indiana Jones came along, and I was like, all right, Wolfenstein's dead. But I think maybe Indiana Jones, like, blew the doors off enough that it gave them the pull. Yeah, it gave them the pull inside of Microsoft to be like, hey, look what we did with this game. Like, give us our shot. I don't know.
This is pure speculation on my part, but based on the timing of how all those things went, I got the impression Youngblood was them just needing to take a break, because the thing I had heard sort of on the background was that Machine Games worked very hard on those first 2 games and, crunched themselves pretty hard on those games. And I think they wanted a breather. As far as, I imagine Indiana Jones just came along and whatever plans they had for a third one just had to go on the shelf for a while.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they already had a pre-production idea of what that game was going to be before Indiana Jones was in production.
Yeah, they must, because, that second game ends on such a cliffhanger. Like, it is it's not a cliffhanger in the sense of, like, what's going to happen next? Like, this is a big twist or something. It's clear what's about to happen next, but it's such a setup for the finale of the whole story.
Yeah. And we still need Mecha Hitler, to be honest. Like, there needs to be a Mecha Hitler. And based on the sort of wry reaction I got from the studio head when we did that one E3 couch thing, it seems like that was probably on their minds as well.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten, but this reporting reminded me that there is a Wolfenstein series.
Yes.
That is in production with Amazon. And I think Microsoft and Xbox Games is really looking to capitalize on their pan-media, transmedia-ness of, like, hey, worked for Fallout, what else we got?
Bethesda in particular,
yeah. Bethesda, in fact, yes. If I ever knew about that TV series, I had forgotten about it. Apparently It is a lot of the Fallout people behind it. Like,
do they have casting?
No, but if I know this is a bit of a meme, but it's so spot on. Who's the guy from Reacher? Is it Alan Richson?
I don't know his name, but yes, if you're talking about the fucking slab bulk cheese of Jack Reacher, yes, that is a BJ Blazkowicz in a nutshell right there.
That man is BJ Blazkowicz in the flesh, and also he is, like, very vocally anti-fascist. So, like,
yeah,
how do you not make this happen?
Oh my gosh! I just looked. He
like,
really
that guy should be
is,
fighting the mountain on Game of Thrones.
Like, literally, you could just put his photo down at the bottom of the screen where the face of BJ appears.
Yeah,
it would fit.
He really is just a rectangle, huh?
Yeah.
Look at
beefy
that
man.
Holy cow!
And anyway, maybe that TV show could be fun. If I think Jonathan Nolan is involved. Same as Fallout.
I think he's executive producing. Yeah. I don't know if he's like show running it the way he was at one point with Fallout. I don't know if he's still doing that for the second season or not.
Anyway, I'm just incredibly happy that they might actually get to finish that trilogy.
Yeah, they should
we can
do that.
See what they had planned for that.
I just want them to make the shooting a little better. It is the only thing in those games I really have any major qualms with.
Yes, I don't disagree. They're not my favorite first-person shooters to play ever, but the story is just so unbelievably good.
In terms of creating, like, memorable moments, like, they are punching way above the batting average of your major AAA studios these days.
Are we I could be out of the loop, and this is completely on me, and I could have a black hole, and the audience can feel free to chuck stuff into the black hole that is my mind, but Where are we with first-person shooters and big releases in first-person shooters? I know, obviously, the Call of Duties of the world, and but like
Doom came out last year.
Yeah, but did it hit for them?
I don't think so.
I mean, it probably made money, but
I think it probably did fine.
Just like Call of Duty, made money, but I don't know if it did the money they wanted to make.
Yeah, well, there's all that stuff going on with Call of Duty and them putting out that apology / we're going to do better stuff.
Take a year off.
That doesn't seem like a great sign.
But Battlefield sold well. I know it's like some of the response to it has tapered off a little bit as they've done updates and maybe people weren't super happy with that stuff, but it's sold well out of the gate.
But that's a different, that's an online. I just mean like
first-person
campaign.
Shooter. Yeah.
You mean story, like single player.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still make them sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Doom, again, is an example of that.
Metroid Prime, obviously.
Yeah, I'm trying to I guess there maybe aren't as many as there used to be, though.
I mean, there aren't as many of any game genre as there kind of used to be.
There are plenty, well, I guess fewer now, of online extraction shooters. But
not as many as there used to be, actually, now that you mention it.
You're not wrong,
third-person games.
Yeah, like thinking back to that heyday. I don't know why Singularity is always the one that comes to mind, but that heyday of just like story-driven single-player first-person shooters 10, 15 years ago.
The Darkness. There were tons of them. But that's neat. I would like to see, they have a developer direct, not necessarily a place for this, but a developer direct in January, end of January, coming up. I don't know if they have announced specifically what they'll be talking about there, but I would assume Fable. Have they said exactly what they're going to show?
Fable and Forza, I feel like, are the most on the immediate horizon.
We did not pull this. We did not research this for a new segment. So
it's yes, it is. It is Fable, Forza Horizon 6, and Beast of Reincarnation.
Okay. Does it say anything in the reporting on it and more, or like unknown?
No, but there is a rumor going around. I didn't pull this into the news, but there is a rumor there will be a fourth game there.
Okay.
I think the rumor said
thing.
Yeah, but I think the rumor said it was kind of maybe a smaller scale game from one of the Xbox internal studios.
Okay. Well, we've got some other Xbox news here, and weirdly enough, some other Xbox news. When we were kind of arranging the list here, I was reminded that, like, hey, Vinny, these were kind of all inside the Xbox game studio at this point.
Yep.
But a little more on the front of mind for Xbox and their release calendar, Avowed, which came out last year. We played some of it. I played not as much as I wanted to play of it, but that game is now coming with some new modes and stuff to the PS5, an updated version.
I think I've said it every time that game comes up for the last 6 months. Like, man, I hope they do a PS5 version, because I would like to see. It's a very good looking game. I'd like to see what they do with it on the PS5 Pro. B, the novelty of pulling my Xbox save into a PlayStation version is something I would like to do, even though it's like, that just works. Cross save is just a thing, but still.
I mean, do you need an explicit confirmation that would work, or you're just assuming will just work?
I'm just assuming, but I mean, it's kind of been the case with everything, right? As far as I know.
So there is an anniversary update coming for Avowed on February 17th. I think that'll be across everything, obviously, but then the PS5 version will release alongside that.
Yeah. So
about a month.
I would love to play more of that on the Pro. Like I said, pull my save in. It looks like I looked up their roadmap. It looks like they had a fall update tentatively scheduled that got pushed. So this anniversary update is what the fall update was going to be, with a little more added.
Gotcha.
But it's the PS5 release that really caught my attention.
And if either of you guys can refresh my memory, did Outer Worlds 2 launch cross-platform? Or is that just
that was on everything. But I would assume like those deals were in place already.
Probably.
I think that game announced before the Obsidian acquisition. Maybe not. But that was
Outer Worlds 1.
No, 2.
I think that may have been announced before the acquisition. Now that you mention it.
Or wait, God, I'm really getting my timeline mixed up. Did 1 even come out before Obsidian got bought? Maybe it didn't.
No, it didn't come out before they got bought, I don't think.
Okay. At any rate, yes, you're right. Outer Worlds 2 did ship on everything, and Avowed did not.
I'm trying to think what's left on the X. Do you know if Grounded 2 will probably come to a PS5, but I think they're doing their early access on Xbox and PC. I'm trying to think what's locked up still on the, aside from Halo, what's locked up still on the Xbox on Big Green.
Some others, only like South of Midnight, I don't think got a.
Did it? I thought it got a. Didn't it get announced?
Not yet, I don't think.
No.
Okay, so we have some things. Maybe we'll find out more.
I take that back. It totally did.
It did. Okay, I thought it did. I think a lot of stuff.
I'm sorry. It is.
It is coming.
I was misreading this list. It is getting a PS5 release, but it's not out yet.
Okay. So we'll see. We'll see as more stuff moves forward. It seems to be their strategy. More stuff out there. And another, this is the one that threw me when I was like, should we move this around and get it out of the Xbox part? And then Brad had to be like, Vinny, it's all Xbox.
Sure is.
Some Blizzard rumors here. You like StarCraft Ghost?
Uh-huh.
What's going? What? Why would I dare even summon that name?
Or StarCraft something with a gun in it.
Yeah.
Listen, you were talking to 2 of the 3 people on Earth who have seen StarCraft Ghost played in motion in front of them.
I played it.
Yeah, you played it. I watched you play it.
I played it ages and ages ago. This is not about Ghost. This is some kind of new StarCraft shooter. Yeah. This is like reporting from Jason Schreier's book and Windows Central and some other places that has popped up over time. It's basically all those rumors you've been hearing for years about a StarCraft shooter of some kind being in development at Blizzard and then getting canceled and then getting rebooted. what Windows Central is now saying, again, following on from some of the Schreier stuff, is that is definitely happening and getting revealed at BlizzCon this year.
Does this have the pop it did 15 years ago?
I don't know. Also, one other detail on this. So this is something they said like a year and a half ago, but they are kind of now confirming, saying, yes, this is definitely happening, is that Dan Hay, formerly of Far Cry, is leading that project. I want to say he directed Far Cry 5, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to double check, but
he was there for a couple of them, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I remember him being the guy on camera for 5 quite a bit, the one set in the US.
Oh, okay, I got my numbers.
In the Heartland.
He was 3, he was Blood Dragon 4, Primal 5, and New Dawn.
Yeah, God, they've made a lot of Far Cry games, but I think 5 might have been the first one he directed. Anyway,
this bio says he was the most hands-on with 5.
Yeah. So I mean,
creative director. Yeah,
I don't know if that necessarily says this is a Far Cry like game, but I guess it's possible there might be elements of that in there. What was the question?
My question was this: I don't know when Ghost was. I just threw it at the 15-year marker. That seems about right. But like, does it still like? Are people? Some obviously will like pop. When I say pop, I'm using the pop in the wrestling, like announcement, like, oh, the audience is going to stand up and go bananas, or are these sub 40-year-olds going to be like, okay,
I don't know, because again, I don't know what the current appetite. I know there is still competitive StarCraft out there. I know there are still people out there playing it. I just don't know what the current appetite is for larger universe stuff in StarCraft at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I guess I'm with you. I mean,
would you bet that this has massive online hooks in it and is not just a focused single player campaign?
I would think so.
Probably.
I mean, it'd be a weird one not to at this point, right?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, this confirmation came out of that same Windows Central, like, here's what 2026 for Xbox is going to look like, and it's literally one sentence that's basically saying, hey, the thing we reported 18 months ago is on and happening. So there's not a lot of new details here necessarily, other than that it is expected to be at the headliner at BlizzCon this year. I don't know what form that takes at this point.
What it is.
Like, I feel like we're like past the live service gold rush where people think that's a good idea 100% of the time, right?
Yes.
I mean, you could probably still do, and again, I shouldn't say Ghost because I feel like that colors the thing as like a single player sniper campaign.
Right. That was a very different kind of thing.
Yeah. You could still do, I think, a StarCraft world thing that is a shooter, that is an extraction multiplayer universe thing. Get your Vespene gas and get out. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Build some pylons and move out of there.
I think I'm pretty sure that's roughly kind of what the rumor was of that first shooter that they had in development that they canceled, was that it was going to be some big battlefield team based. I mean, you can see it, of course, with all the vehicles in the StarCraft universe. Like, you can definitely see how they could build a mode around, like, get in the siege tank and drive it around type stuff. So if they canceled that already, then maybe this is something different.
Is that the thing that was referenced in this story? Was that Ares? Is that this reporting on it mentioned StarCraft, Ghost, and Ares, and I didn't know what Ares was.
Yeah, I haven't read Schreier's book since it came out. Ares might have been that StarCraft project. I don't remember.
But yeah, I could see them dipping into the universe in a less focused single player narrative way, in a more let's be a space marine, be a Tyranid. Do you think he'd play? What are they? What are the Zerg?
Yes, the not Tyranids. And the not Eldar.
Are they called Proton?
Are they called Eldar?
Eldar, yeah.
In 40K, yeah, Protoss.
I don't know. What's the brood mind? What's the thing that floats and just drops stuff around on the Zerg?
The Overmind. Wait, the
build more Overminds. What's the
flying farms?
Yeah,
the Overlords are the big floating gas bags.
Yeah,
those are the farms. Those are the things that increase your supply. The Overmind is the giant talking eyeball.
Okay.
From the first game.
Okay.
I always thought Overmind was a pretty fucking cool name.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
for something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess that would be BlizzCon in September.
Yeah.
Have they announced a date?
Isn't that usually when it is?
It's October.
It's toward the end of the year.
It's usually it might be September. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, September 12th actually. So not that far off.
So I guess we'll know more. I mean, if it really, really is, I bet we'll get some more rumors come out between now and then about that.
Yeah, I'm reminded again. This is a lot of different reporting over time that's all being kind of followed up on here. Video Games Chronicle caught some job listings late last year. Late 2024 actually. They were hiring for a quote open world shooter. So maybe that might give you some hint of what it's about, but maybe not.
So it's like Homefront.
Now you're talking.
That's the tagline, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the heyday of campaign first-person shooters.
Yes, definitely the heyday. Enemies in the Hooters.
All right. We'll find out more as the year continues. Like I said, we have there is a developer direct, which is a very focused, developer-focused what would you call that? Event? Like it's not a press conference, the developer direct.
Oh,
It's like a sizzle reel.
I kind of feel like we're at the point of like lowercase d direct now. Like just regardless of the company, it's like, oh, it's a direct.
Yeah,
they're doing a direct like Nintendo.
It's like a profile. It's almost like a
yeah. You're right. Their thing is a lot more developer focused. They spend a lot more time talking to developers on camera and not just the Nintendo style of here's a trailer, here's another trailer.
The next thing, yeah. So that's coming up end of January, and then that we said BlizzCon would be in September. All right, let's take a break here because I was almost going to say Microsoft adjacent, but we'll come back to this last story. Actually, no, we talked about the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, we
did.
Yeah, we can just move on.
Yeah, so Microsoft adjacent. Do you remember Twisted Pixel?
I do.
Yes, a former studio of theirs.
Did you know what happened to them? Did you know where they had gone?
Yes.
I knew that in my gut. I think it didn't like hit me every time I thought about them. But the disconnect is they have been making VR games for a while, and like the thing I always forgot was like I would just be like, man, they make a lot of VR games. Why are they doing so much VR? And I always forgot, oh right, because they're owned by Meta.
Right.
So they got picked up by Meta in 2021. They put out that Deadpool game for the Quest last year. And do you remember Armature Studios?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And this is the one I did not know. Did you know Senzaru?
I did not.
Those are former Activision folks.
Okay.
They put out stuff like the Sly Collection, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time in 2013, the God of War Collection for the PS
but
Vita.
That's pre their VR meta days.
Yes, and then they were picked up by Facebook in 2022, and I'm not even sure they put out a thing. Asgard's Wrath 2 for the MetaQuest 3 is what they put out.
Okay.
Fuck, man, I did not catch that Armature was also part of this.
Yes, Armature is also part of this.
So Armature, if you don't know Armature were the folks, I think, they were Metroid Prime 3?
Yeah.
Is that right?
So like they
Recore.
They did Recore, a bunch of other stuff. I mean, I know of Armature as the studio co-founded by Jack Matthews, who is a very old school Quake era, like 90s Quake era developer of first person shooters. Like he was a well-known programmer back in the 90s working on games adjacent to Quake. And Metroid Prime. Like I watched a YouTube video interviewing him about technical aspects of the Metroid Prime remaster not that long ago. So he's like deep into some pretty big name games.
Yeah. So that I don't know if did Armature do Metroid Prime? Or is that just
sure.
Mark?
I'm not sure.
Because it's not listed on their credits.
No, I don't know what his involvement was there.
But Armature was acquired in 2022. All of this is to say they were just shut down as part of Meta's rejiggering of things to focus more on, I'll just read their quote, reduction and its focus on VR devices and the metaverse.
Now they're moving more
as it pivots to focus on other divisions such as AI research and its wearables divisions, which includes smart glasses and wristband computing devices. I have to say, I was talking to you guys about this before we were recording. There is something about Meta and Facebook which gets some can say the appropriate amount of shit for me. I would call it I feel it's an irrational amount of shit for me because there are plenty of other companies that
I would say maybe Twitter has
platform.
Finally managed to leap over Facebook in terms of my ultimate revilement of the whole enterprise.
There's just something about Meta and Facebook which I just don't like in my core. Like I don't like their products. I don't like Mark Zuckerberg. I don't like when I see him. I don't like when I hear from him. I don't like what he has become. I don't think Facebook is a good thing. Like I don't think a lot of their properties that they own are good. So for me personally, I thought the metaverse was the stupidest shit when I heard about it initially.
Yeah.
So they get, I'm saying this, they get it's hard to objectively even report on this. They have a unreasonable amount of shit from me in my soul.
I don't necessarily think it's that unreasonable. I sat there thinking about this as we were talking about this offline earlier before we started recording today, and I think with the exception of the general quality and build of the Quest hardware, which I think is reasonably well regarded among VR people, they've never made anything good. Like, that is the thing they have made that is of decent quality, and that is something that they actually bought from someone else and then continued to develop over the years. But, like, Facebook as a product kind of has always sort of sucked. It was at the vanguard and sort of overtook Friendster and some of the other early social media stuff, but eventually it got lapped, and then they kind of started moving into other stuff. And since then, other than, again, buying the Quest and turning it into their VR...
From whom, Alex? Where did they get the Quest from?
Weird, no one knows. Anyway.
It was John Carmack.
Yeah.
Did not expect to hear the word Friendster on this podcast today.
Yeah. For some reason, that was the one that came to mind, not MySpace, and I don't know why.
You're not wrong. I think Friendster was before MySpace.
It was. It was one of the originators.
It was the first social media that I remember.
But they just haven't done anything that's good or valuable or worth celebrating outside of some of the purchases and support they gave some of their VR divisions, which is now the division they are gutting as part of their cost-cutting measure to get further into other bullshit that no one wants. And let me tell you right now, it's not that I couldn't have seen something like this coming. It still fucking sucks. I wrote for Twisted Pixel one time.
Right.
My writing is in the Gunstringer. I wasn't really paid for it, but that doesn't matter. My writing is in that game.
Yeah. That's why I missed the armature thing, was that it was really hard to get past the Twisted Pixel part of this story, which is like...
What a roller coaster ride that studio has had.
It's also just really sad.
Yeah.
You make like a short list of studios that had heart.
Yes.
Like Twisted Pixel is way up there, Also, like, just for me personally, it's hard for me not to associate Twisted Pixel with the early days of Giant Bomb.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the Maw in
Teasdale
particular.
Years.
So the Mall was 2009 and Giant Bomb was like around 2008, right? Ish.
Yeah, it was 2008 is when we launched, but it was mainly the Maw being like part of that early wave of like, XBLA games are getting downloadable games are getting really interesting.
Yeah.
The Maw and then Explosion Man. Yeah. Like, and also just like all their goofy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they're the Beard Engine.
Yeah.
And like that, it was just a really creative studio.
Everyone loves donuts.
It was. And I feel like the ultimate problem, though, with them was that they really wanted to carve out niches for themselves, and that niche had to change over and over again. It's at one point they were the comedy studio, but then then they kind of had to specialize beyond that, and they sort of became the comedy Connect studio, and then they kind of got shuttled off, and then they became the comedy VR studio. And it's like, I feel like they never really got a good place to put their feet on the ground after things kind of started shifting underneath them. You know what I mean? Like, they never really fully regained their footing as like, now we have our artistic confidence again, and we can just really go at the world again.
I think Loco Cycle didn't really do anything.
That was the one where I was like, they're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was a long break there. So I didn't realize in 2015 they had split from Microsoft and then kind of lingered out there. And like you said, Brad, kind of made some VR stuff, but then weren't picked up until 2021 by Meta. I
mean, all those studios were acquired by Meta around 2021 and 2022, right? So basically in the post-COVID fire sale of people trying to stay afloat, they acquire these studios, and then here we are 4 years later, and they're like, you know what, we're not doing that anymore.
So the top line here is that Meta is laying off around 10,000 employees from its Reality Labs division, which I checked, and it seemed like that was about 15,000 people were employed in that. I can just triple check that. It was this was reported originally from a New York Times story, and let me just triple check that because that was the headline here. Reality Labs, about 15,000 people. Meta has a total workforce of about 78,000 people inside of Meta. So
I think they said something like this is around a 10% reduction in overall workforce.
Well, 10,000 from the Reality Labs division.
Yeah.
And that's that 15,000 number there.
I don't have it in front of me, but the amount of money they poured into the metaverse at that company is unbelievable.
And look, I'm not going to say, and this is part of the thing that makes me a little agitated, I'm not going to say that putting money into AI research is something that people don't want, because they are making money off of their models, right? They are the ones who put out, what is it? Brett, do you know, is it Llama? Is their AI model?
I think that's right.
They are one of the big, providers of AI models out there. As far as I can tell, I'm not a big AI person, but that's the one I see come up. I just think I can't speak anything good about Meta. Like, I'm sure there are great people who work there. I just would not be sad if they work somewhere else and found gainful employment. But there's a lot of these companies. And again, this is why I say maybe it's just an irrational thing, and people
not as many as there used to be.
But no, I mean, there are plenty of places that just share the same kind of philosophy. And I'm not sure why I'm laser targeted on Meta. I think they're
fundamentally unlikable. I mean,
it's every time I see Mark Zuckerberg on stage, I'm like, this dude, what'd you do? Why'd you do you? Why'd you become you?
I mean, even beyond his dweebishness, though, like, it's kind of hard to argue that Facebook has been a net good for society at this point.
It's not, look, I can get behind a dweeb. It's the, turn he had, and surprisingly, in the last couple of years, to just, bootlicker. Just straight. Maybe he always
the man
was.
never had a spine to speak of.
But it's just a public bootlicker and building your bunker to go hide from the masses, and the rolling back of moderation on Facebook and all of those acts, which just seem so spineless as somebody who's trying to lead a social platform.
Yeah, well, I mean, Facebook's proven involvement in the violence in Myanmar years ago seemed like it should have been a real bellwether for society. That was not heated at the time. Like in my memory, that is the first real example of oh my God, these platforms are causing severe tangible harm in the world.
Just irresponsible.
Something needs to be done here, and then nothing was done.
Yep.
Anyway, they've laid off a lot of people, and that is happening currently. Those layoffs seem to be happening right now. They were, as of the time of this recording, I think they kicked off around yesterday. So they are currently in the works, and like we said, 10% of 15,000 people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I just looked it up. According to The Street, $73 billion in losses
for the metaverse.
Actually, sorry, that is just a broad. I guess that's their total losses since 2021. That's not all on the metaverse.
Okay,
but that was one of their biggest investments.
But yes, I think you can assume a large chunk of that is money that they poured down the drain trying to realize whatever the metaverse was or wasn't.
What was it? I don't know.
A mistake.
Nobody ever knew. Nobody ever knew. Whatever else you will say about the AI bubble, at least there is some kind of conception on the part of the people trying to build it of what it is they're trying to build. The metaverse didn't even have that, because nobody really had a clear, you'll have an avatar in there, and if you buy a sword here, you can take it over there and use it there too. It was just an attempt to make Ready Player One or Snow Crash.
And the closest thing I feel like we got to that is really Epic just being I don't know, Fortnite's kind of everything.
Well, don't forget PlayStation Home, my friend.
Look, that was just cooler, right?
Look, PlayStation Home is blameless in all of this.
And look, again, I think as we continue down this road and my meta hate is fully known, look, I hear actually good things about the product side of those glasses. They're smart glasses. It's a product I just don't like. I just don't.
It's a product I fundamentally kind of loathe. Actually,
I am incredibly distrustful of those things.
Totally.
If we're getting to a point where people can record you just by looking at you and you don't know it.
Yes. And I think that's the thing is like I hear when people review them and they're like they kind of work, and that makes me be like that sucks. Like I kind of wish they didn't. And that's a me thing. Some people might really like it. This could be a dividing line between whether I like you or not as a person, but like I just think if you're somebody who's like this is great, I can go out and record life all the time now. I don't know.
We got an email a while ago, and this is my giving you the chance to move into the email section here. I'm giving you your pivot right now, but we got an email a while ago from someone, and I think the question they were kind of asking, not in like a sort of prickly way, but more of just sort of like a what happened here was, how do you not think it's cool that we can talk to our computers now? And I think that's kind of like a fundamental thing that we are talking about here when we talk about things like wearables and other technology like this, is that yes, at a time in our lives, we envision stuff like this as like cool and potentially exciting and all the things that could make life better as a result of having these sort of far-flung technological ideas. The problem is that this technology is in the hands of a bunch of people who really don't give a fuck about putting safeguards of any kind on any of this stuff. They have basically given you the worst version of this technology, told you it's the future and it's inevitable, and basically given no guardrails for any of the actual sort of like moral and legal ramifications that maybe come along with some of that stuff. And so we are just in this lawless fucking hinterland of technology where, yes, fundamentally, the idea that I can talk to a computer and maybe it could talk back to me would sound cool to me in any other circumstance than the one we are currently living in. Wearables, glasses that do fucking cool fucking HUD shit and do things just based on like gesture sounds awesome, and I don't trust fucking anyone right now to have that shit.
Yeah, because it's like, right. And like, look, I'm not a hardliner anti artificial intelligence person. I just think, like you're saying, you just see the worst applications and abuses of it constantly, and it's in service of garbage.
That's the question. Like, technology is one thing. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, yes. And so like when Facebook, when Meta shows like their wearable glasses, the first thing I think is like, oh, I wonder if they have a government contract so that every ICE agent can wear these to start IDing people as they do facial recognition as they're walking down the street, right? Like it is not like they are in the service of like, hey, this will help accessibility, this will help people who have had vision problems, people, this is not
stuff is happening. Like, the stuff in like cybernetics when it comes to like, like artificial limbs, like things they are doing with some of that stuff, some of those optics for people who have problem like sight and hearing technology. There is really exciting stuff, and it's getting drowned out by the fucking bullshit.
Yeah, like I've been trying to bang this drum for a while, probably poorly, about, DLSS is the classic example of like, hey, here's just like a mundane technology enabled by this that is good and works and is ethical and is not, unacceptable for X, Y, and Z reasons. Like better language and voice parsing is another one of those that obviously has like very clear applications. But again, like what is the net result of that going to be?
In the end, it's all about how much, intent really matters with this stuff.
Yeah, we hit some pivot point. I'm not exactly sure when it was of that. I started feeling, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I just started feeling the technology gains there was a time when they were happening and I felt like it was for a betterment of society. And then maybe that was naivete, but then some change happened where I feel like it was to exploit society, right? To kind of make the buck off as much money as possible.
Why am I'm just thinking of the astronaut holding a gun meme. Always was.
Yeah, probably always was, but at least there was, I feel like in the earlier days of the internet technology, there was some hope that with information and proliferation of technology, society would take the left-hand fork in the road.
Dude, we could sit here, we could do a whole hour right now about like 90s cyber optimism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the sum total of human knowledge at your fingertips. It'll be glorious.
Look what's in my pocket. And what happened?
The cyberpunk weirdos may have been more right than we wanted to give them credit for.
All right. Alex, thank you very much for the segue into emails.
You're welcome.
That's going to do it for the news. Look, we should just not talk about Meta on the show. It just gets me riled up.
I think we did our bit. I think we've said what we have to say at this point.
And like I said, plenty of other big companies out there, I'm sure, but I don't know, man. There's something about it. let's move over into emails. Brad Shoemaker, can you pick out an email or two?
Sure. Zach in Virginia. I wanted to reach out regarding the Escape from New York watchcast since I'm working through the backlog.
Mm-hmm.
In it, Alex mentions that Snake's Super Uzi is silly and not a military weapon. This is only partially true. Snake's submachine gun in Escape from New York is a MAC-10 submachine gun with the suppressor. It was built by Ingram and was in fact a military weapon, and yes, it looked like that. It was also considered wildly impractical because it was chambered in .45 caliber, and the absurd rate of fire made it totally unmanageable.
Wait, 45? Like that thing's spitting out 45 caliber bullets?
Apparently.
What little I know about the MAC-10 is that it has one of the worst kickbacks of any submachine gun, I think.
Is that where MAC-10 got his name?
Yes.
It has to be, right? Where else would it have come from?
Yeah.
However, the utterly enormous suppressor, as seen in the movie, and yes, that's real, served to act as a front grip and made the weapon a little quieter. So yes, it was a silly weapon, but it was a silly weapon the military actually used.
Wouldn't that thing just heat up like the silencer just heat up? Like, maybe. I don't know that much about ballistics, but
it's possible they make certain kinds that maybe have some sort of heat dispersal thing, but
in that vein, what's the silliest gun you've enjoyed in a video game? My most recent favorite is Doom the Dark Ages Pulverizer, because it's a shotgun / machine gun fueled by grinding skulls and is both ridiculous and extremely effective.
I mean, this is a very broad question.
Extremely broad question.
I mean, guns that shoot other guns are always big on my list. Like,
yeah, sure, okay.
There's
yes, maybe my favorite is the first Borderlands 1 E3 demo that we saw back before they changed the art style, when Borderlands just looked kind of like boringly realistic.
Yeah, and
they had a debug gun that shoots guns in that thing, and we're just shooting thousands of guns everywhere.
It's hard to top that.
Yeah, it is hard to top that. This is like kind of a trite answer, but the BFG in the original Doom, I never appreciated back in the day the weird mechanics of that thing. Like there's some weird line of sight. So did you guys ever know this? Like I never knew this.
Well,
like if I understand, not. I still not sure quite understand it correctly. While the giant green orb is flying out from the BFG, any enemy that has a line of sight to it, meaning it's not blocked by a wall or another enemy, is just like constantly taking damage.
No, I didn't know that.
It's like damaging everything it can see while it's flying, I believe is how it works. Kind of. Or it's just like straight up angles, there's just full on like vectors from that thing to the enemies, and then they all take even more damage when it impacts. There's like weird mechanics around that thing beyond big fucking gun.
Here's a beyond the BFG, but kind of lazy answer, but probably maybe a little too cute answer. I think the portal gun is one of the coolest guns.
Sure.
Like if you count it, because that was just cool. Like I think it still doesn't get old to shoot portals and go through stuff.
It's one of the best game mechanics ever invented.
Yeah, that's a cool ass thing. Portals are fun. There's a lot of fun.
Now you're thinking with portals.
Now I'm thinking with portals. I'm trying to think of games that have had silly guns in them. And there are quite a lot, because we have had a lot of games where you shoot guns.
You know what I feel like games haven't really quite gotten right yet is sort of like the Who Framed Roger Rabbit cartoon gun style, like slapstick guns. I feel like that's a thing that not enough games have really tried to deal in.
Well, there's that like 1920s, 30s animated style PI
There is that
game
one coming out. I wonder if that's going to be the one that finally does it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh man, a bunch of new. You're talking about that Steamboat Willie looking thing?
Yeah. I forget what the name of that is.
A bunch more stuff just entered the public domain at the new year. Also,
anything we'd recognize?
I read the list a week or two ago, and I don't remember now anything that was on it, but it was definitely some stuff you would recognize.
All right, Brad, you got another email? So many guns. I'm sorry. I would need like a week
this is a thing
list.
I would have to research.
Yeah.
Betty Boop.
Oh.
Let's see.
My favorite gun.
Well, boy. Speaking of things that are going to get taken and AI'd.
I still got it, Eddie.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The initial version
still do.
The initial version of Disney's Pluto.
Oh.
That's the villain, right? Like the big dumb dog guy.
Oh, I don't know.
Or Pluto.
That's Bluto.
That's Bluto. Sorry.
Right. Yes.
Pluto is the dog.
I think there's a few other maybe animated things that I can't find right now. Anyway. A lot of movie emails this week.
I like
kind
movies.
and kind of always. Damien from Melbourne, Australia. Did you know that there's not one but 2 Dead Rising movies?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes, there are.
Like released to theater or released to video?
These are direct to streaming.
Okay, that would make that makes more sense. Way easier for stuff to get lost like that. Dead Rising in 2015, Dead Rising Endgame in 2016.
Oh wow.
Wait, because there's also Dead Rising Watchtower.
Yeah. So I found that when I Googled this, and I'm not sure if maybe that's what he's talking about as the 2015 movie.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
I think it is. I think
okay.
It's got Jesse Metcalf in it. Okay.
Yeah. So there's those, and I think there might have been a Japanese-only Dead Rising, maybe direct-to-video thing as well, but I don't know anything about that.
All right.
Yes.
That's got Dennis Haysbert as well. And Virginia Madsen. Okay. There's like,
I mean, is a Dead Rising movie really just a zombie movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they made a couple of zombie movies. They put them on Netflix. Here you go.
Right.
Like maybe you go a little harder on like taping one weapon to another weapon.
Yeah.
Than usual.
More psychos.
But only like 10% more.
I've never seen either of those, so I have no idea if they're any good or not, but they do exist.
Let's see. Will from New York. Why does it seem like the second movie in a? Sorry, let me re-emphasize that to make this clear. Why does it seem like the second movie in a franchise is rarely better than the first, while in video games the sequel is often considered an improvement or even the best entry?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah. Okay.
No movie ever needs a sequel. Every video game needs to become better.
Wow. Okay, man, that's pretty succinct.
Here, okay, yeah. I'll give my slightly broadened out view. I think in a movie you come up with a great idea and you're like, here's my pitch. I've been thinking about making this movie my whole life. Let's make this movie. It's such a good idea. Let's do it. It's going to end and it's going to end. We don't know if it's going to be a hit or not. In a video game, you're like, I have this great idea. It's going to be awesome. Look at this mechanic. And you spend 98% of your time trying to get that to work.
Right.
And then 2% of your time being like, it's good enough.
Here's the content.
Let's ship it.
Yeah. So that's the more nuanced version of what I was trying to say. But yes, I think, and it's not that there's never been a good second movie or sequel or anything like that. I'm speaking very broadly here, but it's more that I think with just about any movie, you can one and done it and have something that's pretty high quality. I think with video games being so much about iteration and so much about building on ideas, a lot of times you get a great, like you said, a great sketch of a thing the first time around, but then you can really build on that at the second, third, fourth, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, you've already put all the time into the technology and hopefully fixing the ideas.
I think the probably somewhat dry thing I would add to that to expand is like the art form of cinema is like well over a century old and like very well understood at this point. And like I would never take anything away from all the different types of labor and creativity that go into making movies, but like that's pretty well defined at this point. Video games are both younger and also like way more multidisciplinary in the sense that they have most all of the not all, but like most all of the disciplines that are involved in movie making and software development.
Yeah.
And interactivity design, which is basically new as of video games and still not, and probably never will be like fully codified, right? Like that's always going to be changing and a hard nut to crack. Like
moving hardware targets.
Yes. Like there are so many things that like you're basically creating from nothing. Or like trying to think of you know what I mean? Like,
and like all of your consumers maybe have different configurations of TVs.
Also like the moving target of how is this going to be experienced?
Yeah.
I've seen game developers liken it to sort of like trying to make a movie where every time you make a new movie, you invent a new type of camera to make the movie with.
I was just going to say that.
You know, that kind of thing. Like it's
almost like every movie would have to be something like the first Matrix, where you're like, we're just inventing this whole new technology of bullet time, right?
Yeah,
and it's like, what's your hook? What's your mechanic?
Yeah, like and you know, like a lot of this probably goes back to just having talked to a lot of game developers over the years, and you know, you certainly like you don't want to stick up too much for like games. You know, sometimes games come out and are not good and charge too much and whatever. Like some consumers definitely get screwed. Or have a bad experience or, lose money on something or whatever. But like, I definitely give a certain amount of leeway to like the Dave Lang thing of I think wasn't he the one that said it? Like, it's a miracle that any game ever comes out.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Is like when you see really what goes into the process, like you understand that it's a pretty hard thing to pull off well.
Yeah.
And then if you ship the game, and it is mildly successful, you've sunk so much of that cost and time in, and now if you have a mechanic that's like, okay, let's build off of that working mechanic. Whereas I feel like the movie is much more about the narrative and maybe about the cinematography and all of that, of course. But also, sorry. Well, I was just going to say, and now you need to really have a good hook for your second movie to re-engage you with the characters again. Whereas the game just needs to be better than the first one was and tighter.
Yeah, and to hear a lot of developers tell it, especially on their first try, it's like they had to cut so many things or compromise so many things they wanted to do. It's like they may have come up with that killer feature, but they like barely managed to build a game around it because creating it from scratch was so much that, of course, they want another stab at it to refine it. You know, like I don't know, like I started to say Mass Effect. It's actually more Assassin's Creed 2 is always the one that leaps out to me as like, this is just a enormously improved version of that first game, which was kind of like Assassin's Creed 1 is like kind of a sketch of an idea.
Like the mechanics are there, but there isn't necessarily like a structure that really like builds it out in a major way.
And like 2 is like, okay, this is a full game. This is a full, complete, very satisfying game built around that same concept.
Well, yeah, and I think the things that are celebrated in a sequel to a game are kind of looked down on in a movie. Where if you in a video game, if you're refining and having the best version of the game you just put out, and this is a really refined and realized version of Mass Effect 1, though I know Mass Effect 1 and 2 have their differences. And if you did that for like, this is a really refined version of Lethal Weapon, you're like, well, no, it needs to be different. Like we can't just do the same thing here again. Yeah, I know Lethal Weapon 2 is pretty good. I know
you just said that. I think Lethal Weapon 2 might be better than 1.
I know, but
it's one of the rare ones where I think that absolutely is true.
Yeah. Lethal Weapon 1
is good.
Lethal Weapon 2 might be the Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 of the movies. Like Lethal Weapon 1 is a weirder kind of looser thing about this Riggs being this suicidal cop who's like, lost his wife. Yeah. And like Lethal Weapon 2 is kind of a buddy movie.
Yes.
And Mass Effect 1 is this like kind of weirder, darker, existential thinking sci-fi movie. And Mass Effect 2 is kind of a buddy, get the gang together.
Team movie.
Dirty Dozen or whatever.
Action movie, right? Yeah. So like,
And then with 3, they fuck it all up, just like Mass Effect.
But when they redid the ending in Lethal Weapon 3, that was really that was too far.
Man,
they put Rene Russo in it.
God, I wish we lived in the universe where they got another year on Mass Effect 3.
I wish we lived it. I'm sure, Brad, not to be silly, but I'm sure everybody wishes we lived in a universe where everybody got another year on their
yes.
But that one in particular. Like there was so much writing on that game with two games worth of saves and decisions to bring in, and then that they had to churn it out in barely 2 years.
I bet they really wish they had it. Was it really 2 years?
Yeah, it was just barely over.
Holy
it was like 2 years and 2 months or something like that.
Jeez. Is that from release to release or development?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like January 2010 to March 2012, I think.
Man, that's like nothing.
I think that's right, or just roughly around there. But also there's like tons of signs of cut content in that game and stuff that seems like it needed to be more fleshed out. The only other movie I would bring up here, and I'm not saying there is a linear progression in quality here because people will yell at me, but Terminator.
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Clearly, like obviously some people like Terminator 1 better, and that's totally
very similar thing then with
justifiable. But that's the thing, though. He did something very different with the sequel.
Yes.
It's like he didn't just make another Terminator 1. He inverted the themes of the first movie and also made the most expensive action movie ever made, as opposed to this very like small scale taut thriller. And like, that's what you got to do.
It's just like Halo when now you can play as the Covenant. Look at this.
Yeah.
And then just like 3, turned it all around. It turned all to shit afterward. Terminatrix, huh?
Was that 3?
That was 3.
I don't know. I just saw an interview with Joe Staten somewhere. It was probably in yet one of the million YouTube videos I watched where he was basically talking about Halo 2 and saying like that was supposed to be the Arbiter's game. Like, yes, we ended up putting Master Chief in it more than we had planned to because we kind of had to. But like 2 was supposed to be the game where you play the Arbiter.
I don't know if you guys probably saw this, but it made me chuckle. There was a thing with Jimmy Cameron. I don't know if you saw this. They were talking about
Jimmy Cams, yeah.
Jimmy Cams.
Buddy of mine.
And they were talking about some interview where he was talking about Avatar. And the I'm paraphrasing here and I'm taking what not what was written on the page, but what my brain remembers. It was basically the interview being like, "Do you hope they succeed?" And he was like, "I don't know." He's basically like, "If it didn't, then I could stop." Basically, I could just if they just don't do well, then I just don't have to make them anymore.
You know what's funny though? Like the interview cycle for this one has been weird because it feels like this is supposed to be like the end of whatever this trilogy of Avatar things, as though he had already been talking all that yang about doing 4 and 5. But every time someone asks him about 4 and 5 now, he's like, dude, I'm not even there yet. Like, I just wrapped on this shit. Like, I need some time. It sounds like he might not be champing at the bit to just jump right on that right now.
That's interesting. I had not seen that. Did this one hit $1 billion yet? I'm sure it did.
I think it did. It definitely made a lot of money.
Like, that's really interesting in the context of video games, because if you go back to post Avatar 1, when he started talking about, like, we're going to make 5 more of these.
Yeah.
Go find some of those interviews. He was using very video game-like language in the same sense of what we're talking about right now, where he quite literally says, why wouldn't we make more of these? We built all these assets. We built all this technology for these things. Yep. Like, now we have them and we're going to make more because now the work is done. Like, now, I mean, obviously there's plenty more work, but like, his point was somewhat video game-like. Hey, we got our engine developed. We got our assets made. Like, now we're off to the races. Now we can just make more movies with this stuff. And in fact, he's been, he was doing press over the holidays for the new one. I saw some behind the scenes, like, performance capture stage footage of them shooting that movie, indistinguishable from the Death Stranding 2 footage that I saw.
Oh, interesting.
Of the same thing, like indistinguishable, like exact same thing, which is just really interesting. And in fact, I can't remember. I know Kojima has commented on the new Avatar recently, and I think Cameron might have said something about Kojima Productions or so. I forget, but it's like, it is the most blended I have ever seen filmmaking and video game production ever. Is like, this is a tentpole video game franchise. This is a $1 billion movie franchise. They are working in exactly the same way in this specific case.
I think there is an argument to be made, more so as much as Kojima cites like Carpenter and all these other filmmakers as kind of like primary influences, that if you have to draw a direct analog to what kind of game maker he is compared to a filmmaker, it is James Cameron. Sure. And it is not just because he mostly has hits on his hands, but because he makes these big blockbusters, he puts his pet issues and interests into them, and they just, I think there is a like-mindedness in the way that they go about their craft.
I can see that, sure.
I did find the little bit from this, and I'll put it into a little bit of context. It was in the Hollywood Reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And is Fire and Ash the new one?
Yeah.
Is that the name of the new one? Okay.
Yes.
And the story goes, I'll just read this. The story goes like this. The reporting goes, exactly how much money Fire and Ash will make is a crucial question for the fate of the franchise. Cameron says his original plan of concluding the saga with 2 more films, some of which has already been shot, depends on the success of Fire and Ash, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Adds Cameron, this can be the last one. There's only one unanswered question in the story. We may find that the release of Avatar 3 proves how diminished the cinematic experience is these days, or we may find it proves the case that it's as strong as it ever was, but only for certain types of films. It's a coin toss right now. We won't know until the middle of January. Then the reporter says, this might sound odd, but what do you want to happen? And it says, Cameron gets the implication. That's an interesting question, he says. I feel I'm at a bit of a crossroads. Do I want it to be a wild success, which almost compels me to continue and make 2 more Avatar movies? Or do I want it to fail just enough that it can justify doing something else?
See, that's unusually honest, and also I can completely understand how he might be in that headspace right now.
Does he have to make another one, though? I mean, like,
no.
But he doesn't control that property, right? I assume.
He has a lot of creative control over it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know that he has the ability to stop the studio from making an Avatar without him.
That's exactly it. I wonder if it's a situation where if he walks away, they're going to bring somebody else in to make one, and he doesn't want that either. I don't know. I really don't know. But he
goes on to talk about, like, look, he's just got other stuff he wants to do.
Yeah. I mean, he's 71. Yeah. Like, I mean, of course, he also seems like one of these, like, Scorsese or Ridley Scott figures of he's probably going to be directing movies until the day he drops dead on set. Like,
yes.
Or Spielberg, like some of these directors that just can't not make movies,
maybe I'm misconfusing it with another person, or maybe it was this interview I was reading. There may have also been a thing where a longtime collaborator had passed away, and that really sucked away some of the fun of doing this. It could have been some, like we've talked about with video games, like people are just passing away. They're just getting older now. Yeah. And it may have been this interview, or may have been somebody else where it's just like, it's just not the same anymore, right? Like I used to work on this thing.
Right. Also, I should amend what I just said about him not being able to stop making movies, because there is the part where he went 12 years without making a feature film.
Geez, really?
That I forgot about.
But he had other interests going on at that time.
And he was making like documentaries. He put out those Titanic documentaries in the interim in between Titanic and Avatar, he was putting out other stuff.
I think you're right
in feature films.
I think you're right in the sense that he is a person who will never stop working on whatever it is he finds interesting, whether it's filmmaking or whatever other fucking crazy adventurous thing that he's into at the moment. But like
sea diving.
But whatever it is, he will never stop until there is just nothing left in him.
But the last thing I'll say about that footage on set, in air quotes, because again, it's in a warehouse on a motion capture stage that they're doing those Avatar movies. But this is just some straight up film production nerd stuff, back end process. He made this really interesting point when he was talking about like getting actors on board for those movies, where you're potentially signing up for like 15 years of your life, for the Zoe Saldanas and Sam Worthingtons and stuff. In that motion capture setting, he's like talking to the actors. He's like, shooting on film, you got to shoot 2 angles, you got to shoot coverage, you have to do take after take, even good takes of a scene. You have to keep shooting them over and over. He was like, I only need you for one good take of every scene, because all we're recording is your voice and your motion. Because he's going in with a virtual camera after all that stuff is set up in the 3D environment, and he is directing the film in terms of shot blocking and composition and camera work and all that stuff.
Right.
After the actors are long gone.
Right. So he just needs the performance, not the.
Right. So it's like a crazy streamlined process for the actors where they just. That's how he described it anyway. I don't know if that's how it works in practice, but he literally was just like, I get the take I'm happy with, and then they're good.
And I feel like this is the kind of thing where ADR actually is not terribly distracting if you have to come back and redo some of those lines depending on how that performance went.
Yeah.
It's like I bet that whole industry has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
Dubbing and ADR, like lip syncs and all that. I don't know. Funny, fascinating.
The
weird movies, sequels to movies,
Avatar,
good tangents. All right, can we call it there?
Yeah,
sure.
Call it there for the emails for now. You can send emails into podcast@nextlander.com. 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 A lot going on out there. A lot bubbling up. A lot. Woo! It's hard to keep it contained sometimes. But you can go let yourself go sit, relax, join us, listen to something, take a walk, put some headphones in, chill out, light a candle, take a bath, and listen to the cool sounds of the Watchcast or the Never Been a Better podcast, the Ramblecast, this podcast again, just started again.
The Cast coming soon, our podcast about podcasts.
Yeah, the Cast Pod podcast. You should go listen to that. All those things over at patreon.com/Nextlander. There are so many things there, and the greatest part is if you've been on the fence about it, or if you're listening to this and be like, well, I've never tried any of those other things. They're all sitting there waiting for you to be like lined up, just waiting to be devoured by you. So you can sign up and get them all. They haven't expired. We haven't taken them down. They haven't done that to us yet. So you can get in there and go check it out. You can find a tier that is right for you and just sit there and binge it all if you like. And I wouldn't blame you. There is one tier there, though, that gets their name read on this here show, and it is the Mysterious Benefactor tier. Alex Navarro.
Yeah?
Would you do us the honor of reading our Mysterious Benefactors for this week?
I would be honored, Vinny Caravella. Our Mysterious Benefactors for this week are... I live in Minneapolis and am running out of good vibes to send. Alpha Rhythm. Nextlander.net, it's .com. David L. Kelly F. Brian Lucier. Skywarp. Jason Grimm. John Hubbard, Thordreen, Evan Cook, Jerry Lee, Deirdre's Very Powerful P Organ, Pugtato, The Bunny Word Spiral, Jad Rita, Statics, Brian Murphy, Randy Duax, Randy Alderson, Andrew Tiepkin, Alex Wu, It Me JP, Edward Chick, Andrew Slosky, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese.
Those are our mysterious benefactors for this week. Thanks everyone for supporting us and keeping us afloat and going. The good ship Nextlander pulling into a port near you. Thanks everybody, and thanks to all the people watching our stuff on YouTube and Twitch, and basically again sending us the good vibes, as our mysterious benefactors have stated. Even though times out there don't feel like they generate the good vibes.
No, I would say not.
Yeah, I would say not. But here, we're all trying to get by. And thank you very much for helping us do that, to join us for our streams. It's a lot of fun to take some time and be distracted with all of you playing some very silly games.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of being distracted, we've got some S-tier movie distractions coming up.
Yeah.
We've got Transformers in the can and up. Alex, what do we have left on this Watchcast round?
Coming up next week, we will have G.I. Joe, the movie, the animated one, and then we will be going back to live action with Masters of the Universe, the 80s one.
A pitiful movie. just in my mind, just a garbage movie.
Skeletor has never been more rubbery.
Have you seen it, Brad?
Only when I saw it in the theater as a kid, and I don't think since.
Okay.
Yeah. This is going to bring back some memories, I think.
I feel like I remember like one thing about somebody getting like zapped by some lightning or something.
Yeah, it's playing a keyboard.
That's about all I can remember.
Yeah, well, get ready. Buckle up. Yeah, so woo.
I made this promise on the Watchcast schedule. February will be all good movies. We need that in our lives.
Okay.
So I've made the promise that it will be all good movies.
At least 2 of these are very good movies.
Listen.
I will go to my grave with that on my tongue.
I did not hate Transformers the movie. I had some fun watching it.
For sure. And now, so coming up, G.I. Joe, and then Masters of the Universe, the He-Man live action movie. We have been having a lot of fun playing Road to Empress with Abby Russell. We are maybe getting closer to the throne. We have died many times. The last episode, we died fewer times. I think we only died trying to actually explore some of the weirder FMV deaths.
We died on purpose, I think, when we died.
Yeah. That game is wild. I did not know much about, and I don't know if this is representative of the Chinese soap opera scene, but man, this thing is a wild ride, of palace intrigue, and I just need like a idiot's guide to what is happening here of all the people.
Give me a good face to name list, and I will be 100% set.
Might be in the game somewhere. There's a lot of ins, a lot of outs, man.
Yeah.
And like I said before, on Monday, Will Smith and I jumped into that Mosa Lina game, which is hard to describe, but is basically a Baba Is You with a bunch of less strict puzzle solving and more goofy, no holds barred, shooting weird weapons and trying to solve puzzles, and that was a lot of fun. Friday, we're still TBD for this week. We still are figuring it out for this Friday.
What if we played some Transformers games?
I was thinking about it, but there are so many.
Sure. Are there?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
there's a number.
Definitely more recent ones. I guess you're right. Yes, like from sort of PS2 on, I guess there's a ton.
I mean, there are the ones that you'd want, which was a High Moon who did the
there was the High Moon game. There was also that one
War for Cybertron one.
There's one Platinum game too, right?
Yeah,
Devastation.
I think
that's the one I would like to see. But isn't that game still delisted as of now?
I might have a physical copy of that. I'm going to double check, but I might.
Because I don't know if I played that or not. That's the one I always see people say like, "Oh, this really nailed the feel of the G1."
Yeah, that was like a very actiony.
I mean, it was, but it was good.
The look was.
They got Vince DiCola to do music for it,
which is what you want. And then there's some Commodore 64 games, which are just weird.
I would do that for sure.
We could roll out. I mean, look, there are some G.I. Joe games as well, which
it's
we
true.
save those.
I don't know that there's a lot of He-Man games, actually.
I actually played 10 minutes of the G.I. Joe NES game over the holidays, actually.
Okay. Alex, didn't you say you bought a physical copy of that not too long ago?
Yeah, I think I have a working cartridge copy of it.
Anyway, that it's still TBD. Maybe it'll be a mix of Transformers games and other nostalgic commercial games.
Yeah,
we'll just break open the LJN catalog.
That's all they did.
Just play licensed games. But whatever it is, we'll be there Friday. Come join us for it. And that's going to do it for this show. Like I said, we've got plenty of other stuff going up on the Patreon. You can check all of those things out if you are interested in the uncut Au Natural Anthem stream we did. That is over on the Patreon for everybody to check out, or you can see the edited version, which is up on YouTube now. Thanks, YouTube copyright system. That's going to do it. Thank you very much, Alex Navarro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad Shoemaker.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week with more of the Nextlander podcast. See ya.